All right. Didn't know we had a gavel for the retreat, so thank you all for being here. We're a little running behind, but you know, we got some construction projects on Centerville Road that we are very proud of that are unfortunately maybe contributing to some late arrivals, but that's okay. I want to say first and foremost, thank you everybody for being here. I know there's a whole crew of people behind me. I'm sorry, the back of my head is probably better looking than the front of my head. So, you know, it's probably a better look anyway. So, thank you all for being here. Good morning. Commissioners, thank you for making the trek out here to what is one of the most prideful parts of Northeast Tallahassee and District 4, out here at really one of the landmarks of Leon County, the Bradley's Country Store, and then right here at the Bradley's Retreat. So, it's kind of neat. The staff wanted me to point out to you all that we are having our retreat at the Bradley's Retreat. So it's hard to miss once you get up Centerville Road and it says retreat. Okay? You've made it to the retreat. As you guys know, Bradley's has been out here for a long, long time. I know it feels like a long way to get out here if you're coming from in town, but you know, it is a beautiful, beautiful area. I would encourage you to get out here, you know, every so often if you get the chance. And if you get the chance after the retreat today, slide over to the country store if you've never been in there. Walk in. It's really a throwback to a century that is bygone. Get yourself a sausage dog because I would contend they're the best in the world. And I think on that note, the staff has prepared little goodie bags for each of us up here with some swag from the country store. If you don't know, they do more than just sell sausage. They've got all kinds of homemade sauces and they grind their own stone ground grits. So thank you to our staff for putting together these little gift bags for us. I really appreciate it, and hope you guys enjoy and rep your Bradley's swag. You guys know what Dwight from The Office said swag stands for? Stuff we all get. I got one. And those of us who've been to a FAC conference or a NACO conference, you know what the swag means. Okay, so let's see. I think we're just waiting on Commissioner Maddox. So I think we're all fairly well here. As you see in front of you, oh, we have some goodies. If you've never done so, okay, I already got that. Let's get going. The county administrator's put together a great agenda for us today. As we all know, the county's 5-year strategic plan is at the heart of everything we've done and plan to do. And at every commission meeting, our agenda items show how all of the various actions we take as a body advance our strategic priorities and initiatives. And each year, the retreat then serves as a time to review our progress and update the plan. I look forward to taking this time with you all to look at the priorities, address new priorities, take an assessment of the current priorities and how they're going, to build upon our hard work in developing and advancing our current 5-year strategic plan, and to make the most of the great agenda we have for us today. With that being said, to achieve the work ahead of us today, we need everyone's participation. As we do so often on the dais, we need to work together and build consensus at this year's retreat. Now I could read the ground rules for all of us, but I think that would probably mess up the whole point here, which is to honor time constraints. So we're running a little behind already, but I do want us to get out of here by noon so you can go grab you a sausage dog across the street. So like in years past, I'm sure we'll all be courteous and expeditious so that we can get the most out of the day. And I do look forward to hearing from each individual commissioner later on during our strategic plan update for the upcoming year. But before we hand it off to the county administrator, I just want to again say thank you all. I haven't seen you in a little bit, so it's great to see everybody as we roll close into February and get going on our in this new year. I would like to take this opportunity to let everybody kind of say a few words. I want to, before I pass it off to you guys, just take this opportunity to once again thank the staff that's sitting behind me. We know that they're really the heartbeat of this organization. They get all the work done, and they are the ones who execute the plan that we put together. And so they're all out here. The parking lot's full. And we appreciate everything that they do. So if you guys wouldn't mind, let's give them a little round of applause for this great Leon County staff. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed breakfast. Also want to give a shout out to Canopy Road Cafe who provided the breakfast today. A very prolific business in Leon County, located headquartered right here in District 4. At that juncture, we're going to pass it off to commissioners to say a few words, and before we get it to the county administrator and get into business. Immediate past chair, Commissioner Cummings, would you like to start us off?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everyone. What a great day. We're looking forward to 2025. But to my fellow commissioners, Mr. County Administrator, County Attorney, and all of you all that are here this morning, I look forward every year to this retreat because it sort of shows us, you know, where we are. It's sort of like when we were in school or in college, you know, we got our grades, we received our report card, and I'm excited about the report card that has been prepared for us because it shows in most of our areas that we are at close to or above 75% of achieving the goals that have been outlined by the commission and the county administrator. So I'm just excited about today, looking forward to hearing from all of you all that are various heads of your various departments. But I'm also especially excited because for the first time, we will also hear from our executive director of the Children's Services Council. And so she will be here, if she's not already here, to give us an update on what the Children's Services Council is doing and has done to move the needle in a positive direction for our children. So I think we are going to enjoy her presentation. That'll be a treat for us. And so I'm going to just sit back and relax and just look forward, Mr. County Administrator, to the various individuals that are going to make the presentations for us this morning. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Cummings. Commissioner O'Keefe.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I look forward to this retreat much like a personal retreat that many people take each year. And in that case, we're looking at, for me, for example, you know, I look back at what has happened in the last year, separate from the day-to-day, and stop, sort of separate from the noise and say, okay, what happened this last year? What worked well? What didn't work? What changed in a way that we want it to be different, that I want it to be different? And I feel strongly that when we do that here as a county, it is often, and I think this year will be the case, one where there is much more acknowledging how much we improved and how well we did in so many aspects. And there will also be, and part of how you get excellent, part of how you become a leader is by pushing yourself and pushing yourself. And so I also think about, just like in a personal retreat, acknowledging that there are things we want to do different next year does not mean that what we did this year before was not our best and was not what was necessary. And so I'm looking forward to this reflective time as a body to think about what we can do better, what we have done excellent, and a lot of places, even where we lead, where we want to do more to continue to lead. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner O'Keefe. Commissioner Caban, Vice Chair Caban.
Good morning, everyone. I want to give a quick shout out to staff. Thank you for preparing this year's retreat binder and agenda. It was very detailed, and I actually enjoyed reading about seeing all the stuff that we've accomplished in years past and things that we're looking forward to tackle in the next year or two. I also would like to compliment the chair. I love the location we picked. Centerville Road is a gem in Leon County, and I enjoyed the drive here this morning, and I'm looking forward to a great conversation with our colleagues. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Commissioner Minor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, I haven't been to as many of these retreats as Commissioner Proctor or Commissioner Maddox, but I'll tell you that the more of these that I go to, the deeper appreciation I have for what the work is done on this day. You know, I think many people have already talked about it. I mean, it's a way to kind of stop, catch a breath, take a look at where we're going at a strategic planning level, and then figure out where we need to go next. And it's just a great way for us to do it outside the office. And this day is very valuable for me, and I know it is for us, for all of us. Also, I just want to say, driving up here reminded me of how incredibly beautiful our county is. You know, I coming up this far to within District 4, but then also over the weekend, I was driving around through other parts of the county, and it's great to be reminded about how amazing this county is. Very diverse, but this is just incredible with what we have in this county. And if you don't travel around thoroughly on a regular basis, you kind of forget it. And so I want to appreciate the chairman's location here, because I don't get a chance to come up to the retreat, the Bradley's retreat, very often, but when I do, it's really a beautiful place to be. So kudos. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Minor. Commissioner Proctor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, commissioners. Good morning, staff. Good morning, everybody. I'm never come to a retreat more fulfilled and satisfied by the report that we have before us. I have never felt as good walking in for the speculative thoughts of where we're going for the next year. Certainly, I said to the county administrator this morning, Mr. Chairman, that you can't look at the size of the book to determine the validity and the value of its content. And never, Commissioner Caban, look at the size of the book to know the size of its value. I just thought I'd wink at you on that one. This is huge. Where we're going is huge. But my concerns this morning is not checking the block of where we, the timeline, timetables. I'm specifically happy about the Southern report, Southside report in this book. But I'm more concerned this morning about philosophically, where do we draw lines? My concerns is a legal understanding of who are we if there is no 14th Amendment birthright, who are the citizens of Leon County. I'm concerned that if the executive orders for ICE to arrest people and throw them in Leon County's jails and leave them there ad infinitum, do we have to pay those costs? I'm concerned with state jurisdiction, federal jurisdiction. We cite in our report DEI as a core value. Since we've last met, it's no longer a national value. These conflicts, and I feel more so much of what we have set out as goals over years have been executive ordered into oblivion. Where do we stand legally? What are we willing to fight for? Or do we just submit? So drawing those lines and understanding our values in the context of a new orbit of national and state direction is very central for me as a board. What are we going to fight for? And some of my questions will be directed to, I guess, our county's attorney with respect to these dynamics. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Proctor. And Commissioner Minor's comments kind of resonated with me. I think that, we are really here to celebrate the achievements of our staff. And it's like this whole community, our structure as a county commission, I really like, right? Because we all represent, Fort Braden, Woodville, Chairs, Bradfordville. We all represent little corners of this big, beautiful county, and we live in those communities and we travel to them every day. So Commissioner Minor's comment struck me as, I might take it for granted sometimes. I travel out here all the time, but same thing as when I go to Fort Braden or Woodville or Chairs community or all around the county, I recognize how beautiful and diverse and awesome our county is, and that is a reflection also of this staff behind us. So Commissioner Caban's comments, I also felt like, I think of it as like kind of building a house, right? You don't necessarily see the day-to-day work that goes into putting the plugs in the wall and hanging the ceiling fan. You show up every couple of days and you look and you go, wow, that looks really great, And so, again, a testament to the staff behind us. Looking forward to a great retreat. Looking forward to learning as much as we possibly can. And on that note, we'll hand it over to the county administrator to get going. Also wanted to say hello to the county attorney. Thank you for being here. Hope you're doing good. And Mr. County Administrator, you ready to go?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, commissioners. Again, welcome to your annual retreat. We're so happy to be back out here at Bradley's Pond. I say back out here because we had the County Commission retreat out here years ago. This was one of the first events held at this space. It was so long ago that only Commissioner Proctor can remember Well, maybe a few of the staff that have been around a while as well. And with that, thanks for the kind words from our team behind me. I think it just takes a glance back there to really recognize and appreciate the team that we have here at the county. And again, I want to acknowledge them up front. Much of our executive team is in the room today who provide the day-to-day leadership and execution of our strategic plan. Commissioners, as you all know, this is the opportunity we take each year at this time. Again, just to take a quick pause from all the urgent and competing issues of the day, and to take a step back and evaluate our progress in executing the larger strategic priorities of the board. This is a process that also ensures that we continue to be in the best position to adapt to new opportunities and new challenges that we face, and even things that we can't fully plan for. And we certainly faced our fair share of challenges over this past year since we've met since our last retreat, commissioners, and those things demanded considerable time and resources of the county organization, as you all know. But even in the face of 200-year flooding events and tornado outbreaks and the worst projected hurricane season we've ever faced, with landfalls that hit way too close to Leon County, and even an ice storm most recently, talk about things you can't fully plan for, we still stayed focused and made tremendous progress on advancing the larger goals and priorities of our strategic plan. And that's what it's all about. And that's why this retreat and our strategic planning process is so important. Any number of those things, again, because they consume such considerable time and effort, you could very quickly, lose months, if not years, off of your projects and your planning. But thanks to our alignment that I'll talk about a little bit today, and our very, very thorough process, we're able to stay focused and, again, make great progress, sort of whatever comes our way. So with that, commissioners, here's this is the update year, and this is a look at your retreat agenda for today. This is an abbreviated process in the updated year. We're in year 3, heading into year 4 of our 5-year strategic plan. And again, it's an abbreviated process, so half a day will be plenty of time for us. Don't worry, Commissioner Minor, there's no trust falls planned for today's retreat. It's all business. And again, I think we got plenty of time. You're going to get a quick overview from me, followed by a high-level review of our progress 3 years into the execution of our 5-year plan. To bring this, all the data that you've been presented to life, we have sort of a speed round of staff presentation on selected projects that'll be in full swing in year 4. So coming up in this next year, we wanted to give you a snapshot of that for 2025. And staff was a little reluctant, I have to tell you, to have this a speed round of presentations. They didn't want you to know that they were capable of fast presentations. So there was a lot of pushback on that. But you'll be able to see this very soon here. As Commissioner Cummings mentioned, this will be followed by an opportunity for the board to hear from and engage with Sika Rose Green, our executive director of the CSC. In past retreats, commissioners, we've had sort of a spotlight issue where we've had a partner that was engaging in an initiative or a project that the board might not have had the opportunity to fully engage and be updated on. So this is a great opportunity. I think this is the first time that the board will really be engaged with the CSC since their inception. And again, we look forward to that, and a lot of possibilities and partnership ongoing that we have there with the CSC. And finally, commissioners, we're going to close out the morning with the board updating the strategic plan with any proposed new initiatives to further effectuate the plan's priorities into 25 and beyond. So with that, I hope you're all fully caffeinated. I'll get us started with just a quick overview. And again, you'll hear me say that a lot this morning in terms of the quick. We could certainly stop and go into more detail on everything. But commissioners, on the screen, you'll see the Leon Leads cycle. It should be something that's very familiar to you. And nothing sums up a very comprehensive process like a simple graphic in this case. Leon Leads reflects our continuous process that provides clarity and focus and alignment and continuity that guides our collective efforts, the collective efforts of all Leon County employees in our strategic planning and execution process. Our strategic plan, commissioners, our strategic plan is included in each and every one of our strategic processes. And so how we develop the county budget, right down to how we evaluate each county employee, including references in every one of your agenda items, right? How these actions align with our strategic plan. So ours is certainly not a strategic plan that sits on a shelf and collects dust. You all know that. And not every organization does this, but it's been key to our success, again, in optimizing our resources and delivering results. Starting at the top of the circle, Commissioners, where we find ourselves at this time each year, this is our opportunity to review our progress and explore new opportunities and to set the direction for our year-round alignment of, frankly, countless efforts performed by hundreds of employees across dozens of divisions, engaging thousands of citizens so that we can stay focused again and deliver meaningful results to the community and all the things that we do. That, of course, Commissioners, is the quickest way to illustrate this strategic alignment and the emphasis that we put on strategic planning here at the county. Again, we could certainly spend, I'm sure, an entire day talking about, again, the comprehensive approach that we take to strategic planning. I'll just say, too, it's worth noting that we've become kind of known for this at the county, not something that we intended to do. But we hear from counties and cities and school boards, literally from all around the country, all the time on how we do this strategic planning. I have to tell you, it's a little bit funny that we spend time with them, and when they hear about our process, most of them then chicken out and say, well, that sounds like it may be too much of an undertaking. But again, it's something we take so seriously because it does pay off for us. So with that, Commissioners, let me just quickly walk through some of the key elements of our strategic plan before providing a snapshot of the progress we've made on initiatives and our 5-year targets and our bold goals. And again, this is just a quick overview. So up on the screen, Commissioners, you'll see the county's vision and mission statements. Our vision statement simply reads a community that is safe, healthy, and vibrant. The mission statement reads to efficiently provide public services which serve and strengthen our community. Very simply stated, because these have been adopted into the 5-year strategic plan, they're not intended to change and update years like this year. Up next on the screen, as well as the boards around the room here, you'll see our strategic priority areas. These areas include the economy, the environment, quality of life, and governance. Commissioners, these priority areas are high-level categories that clearly articulate what the county wishes to achieve in these areas. But they're not simply aspirational statements. They're written to reflect our role and what we can do directly in working with our partners to specifically advance these priorities. And they're critical to the success of the community. I won't read these directional statements, Commissioners. Like me, I'm sure you have them tattooed somewhere in your body. Next on the screen, Commissioners, is a summary of the progress to date on our strategic initiatives. These are the key action items, as the Commission knows very well, that we use to carry out these strategic priorities. As reflected on the screen, the 5-year strategic plan currently has 85 strategic initiatives, with 72 out of the 85 initiatives complete. That's 85%. And the remaining 13 initiatives in progress. Of course, we're going into the 4th year of our plan, so the number of initiatives will continue to grow because our strategic plan is a living document, including new initiatives that you may add today. But to be sure, Commissioners, many of the initiatives under the category that's marked complete, of course, do not stop, but rather are ongoing and require additional resources and support. A great example of that would be our initiative to secure state and federal funding to build affordable housing for very low and low-income families. While we've made significant progress in this area, that's an initiative that we'll continue to work on throughout our 5-year plan. And so it's included in the complete ongoing subcategory. So on the other hand, you'll see a number of strategic initiatives that have been completed in their entirety. These are sort of the one and dones. A great example of this would be the year-long celebration of the bicentennial, which the board knows very well and which we've just wrapped up. In fact, right up to the very last minute of 2024 at the New Year's Eve event. And finally, the table also reflects the balance of the strategic initiatives which are still in progress. A great example of this would be our initiative to plan and host the 2026 World Cross Country Championships at Appalachia Regional Park, which will be taking place next year. Your retreat materials, Commissioners, beginning on page 28, contain a detailed analysis of the status of each strategic initiative to date. So to round this out, Commissioners, in the slide that you have here, and again, we've got the boards around the room, which also reflect this. The last part of the overview, I want to briefly highlight the bold goals and targets. These targets and bold goals were established in January of 2022 as part of our new 5-year plan, which means that the data presented today represents our progress made across the first 3 years of the plan. And as you may recall, Commissioners, the goals and targets are aligned with each strategic priority area. Our 5-year targets are important because they communicate to the public and staff the specific results we expect to achieve by collectively executing initiatives and committing to these aggressive targets over 5 years. The bold goals, Commissioners, that we have aligned with each of the strategic priority areas are stretch goals. Unlike our targets, a little bit different than our targets, a little more aggressive, if you will, than our targets. They're big and difficult to achieve by definition. They require us to stretch to provide new opportunities and new ideas to accomplish. We might not achieve all of these, but they communicate aggressive goals that we believe are possible with focus and commitment, again, over 5 years. These targets and bold goals are really important. They're a very important element of our strategic plan, and they demonstrate the ambitious efforts we take at the county to continue to move the community forward, and we're committed to accomplishing all of them. And as seen in your retreat materials, Commissioners, and on the boards around the room, we've continued to make great progress on these targets and bold goals, and we're on track for the most part with each one of them. And beginning on page 81 of your retreat materials is the detailed analysis of each 5-year target and each bold goal. Commissioners, I told you I'd be quick with an overview, and that was certainly quick. I'm going to pivot here, unless the chairman stops me, and go right into some presentations by staff that I noted earlier. Now that you've heard a little bit about our strategic process and the progress that we've made to date, we're going to hand it over to county departments to touch on, again, just select major projects and milestones that will be achieved in the upcoming year through the remainder of the current 5-year plan. Commissioners, again, you're going to hear directly from the people in the organization responsible for carrying out a number of these initiatives in our strategic plan. We'll cover just a handful of them. It's important to take the opportunity to get a glimpse, again, Commissioners, and you'll certainly see this in the presentation, of the level of coordination and collective work taking place in the coming year to make these happen. And you'll see in these presentations that they're organized by strategic priority areas, starting off with the area of the economy. And following the presentation, Commissioners, of course, we have time and we'll accept any questions or comments from the board or any conversation about any of these from the board. As I've said, these are quick, but again, they bring the statistics that you've heard here to life and showcase some exciting initiatives that we'll be working on and devoting, again, considerable time and effort and resources in the coming year to achieve. So with that, I'd like to hand it off to Ken Morris, who's going to get us started.
Well, Mr. Chairman, point of
Fantastic
information
Four.
before Mr. Norris comes forward on the information we just presented.
Yeah.
Just for to be reconciled.
Yeah, briefly,
The
Commissioner Proctor.
bold gold at 74% and the bold gold on. that
We go back one
reported
slide.
Is that 74%, Vince, at some point later, if staff can reconcile, it's reported to us at 48%, 2.4 billion in our notes. I think it's page 13. I was just wondering, this 25% differential. So
Absolutely.
We can move on.
And it's,
Thank you,
it's
Commissioner.
great timing because following Ken, we're going to have Carrie do a brief feed out on that, and we'll be able to provide some clarification on that.
Very good. Thank you.
Now, are you guys going to go as the Fantastic Four, the Four Tops, the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse? I don't know.
Caption contest. Here we go.
I'm hoping Fantastic Four, all right?
Superheroes. Thank you, Vince. Good morning, Commissioners. First strategic priority area that we'd like to present this morning is the economy. As an organization, we use this strategic priority to guide our continuous efforts to make Leon County a place which attracts and retains talent, seeks to grow and diversify our local economy and realize our full economic vitality. This is achieved through the board's programs and policies that support business expansion, new business ventures, attracts established companies to come to our community, and initiatives that foster economic mobility. It's also achieved with well-designed public infrastructure that attracts private investment and has long-term economic benefits for our community. We've also made great strides by growing our tourism economy and its overall impact to everyone in our community. The next few presenters will discuss specific projects and programs which demonstrate our progress in the current 5-year plan, and they'll provide a look ahead at upcoming initiatives that keep us moving forward in the area of the economy. Under this broad category, as Vince covered, we're currently leading 19 strategic initiatives, a bold goal, and 4 strategic targets. But as Vince just mentioned, we're only going to cover just a few of the strategic initiatives that we're leading. Staff presentations are designed to be quick moving, highlight updates of the progress being made. Some of the initiatives updates will be very timely. Others are part of multi-year and multi-phase projects, which is central to the board's theme today and why you have a retreat and you take the time and effort to engage in strategic planning. So to get us started, I'd like to bring up Keith Bowers, our Director of OEV. I'm going to hand it off to him, and he's going to share some of the progress we've made in growing the private sector and provide a little insight on what's ahead.
Thanks, Ken. I'm excited to share some of the incredible progress we've made in supporting growing and diversifying our local economy since the start of the 5-year strategic plan in 2022, and give you a glimpse of what's on the horizon for Leon County through 2020. Since 2022, we've added over 19,000 jobs to our local economy, an achievement that's 194% of our 5-year strategic target. At the same time, 288 new businesses have been created, bringing us to 58% of our entrepreneurial target. These numbers show just how much momentum we have in advancing our strategic plan in the area of the economy to realize our full economic vitality. Amazon continues to play a major role in that success. As of December 2024, the company employs 1,921 full-time employees here in Leon County with an average salary of $41,500. That adds up to approximately $80 million in annual wages, a significant boost to our local economy. What's even more significant is that over 42% of these employees live in the 32304, 32303, and 32301 zip codes, demonstrating one of the many ways we're continuing to drive economic equity and financial security in areas that have historically experienced poverty and higher unemployment rates than in our community. In May of 2024, Amazon also launched a free shuttle service for its employees, with 2 shuttles covering 5 stops across 2 shifts, 7 days a week. The service has already attracted 126 unique riders, making it easier for workers to get to and from their jobs. We should also be proud of the strides we've made in supporting minority and women-owned businesses. From 2022 to 2024, the county has expended over $10.7 million with MWBEs, ensuring that we advance our strategic focus on promoting economic growth among minority and women-owned businesses. And there's so much more to be done the remainder of the strategic plan. Looking ahead, 2025 is shaping up to be an exciting year. We're hosting the Motor, Drive Systems, and Magnetics Conference for the first time ever. This event, which is typically held in Orlando, will bring more than 400 industry leaders, scientists, researchers in high-growth industries to Leon County. This is a tremendous opportunity for us to highlight all that our community has to offer, including our world-renowned academic institutions and their cutting-edge research centers, a highly skilled workforce, and an exceptional quality of life. This event allows us to showcase why Leon County is an outstanding place to live, work, and invest. Another big milestone is Ignite Tallahassee, our new high-tech incubator that opened in October 2024. This space, formerly known as the North Florida Innovation Lab, is projected to create 600 jobs, support 100 entrepreneurs, and have an economic impact of $66 million. Major investments like this demonstrate the importance of OEV's efforts to support growing a cluster of research businesses in the magnetic and technology industries. Another way that we continue to do this is through our strategic sites inventory program, which takes a focused approach to attract new businesses to Leon County. This program is all about identifying and promoting the county's most desirable industrial and commercial real estate sites, but with a specific audience in mind. C-suite executives and site selectors who make key decisions about where businesses grow and relocate. By directly engaging with these decision makers, we're making sure that they have information and the confidence that they need to see why our community is the right fit for their next big move. This initiative is more about than just marketing properties. It's about putting Leon County on the radar of businesses ready to invest in their future. And Leon County is definitely on the radar for businesses, with more than 12 active projects leads currently in development for 2025. Again, demonstrating our success in making our community a prime destination for business expansion. It's been an incredible journey so far, and there's so much more to look forward to. We see the evidence of a stronger, more inclusive, and more innovative future for everyone in our community each and every day. At the heart of this success is infrastructure that supports businesses, connects people, and drives growth. To provide more details on this critical topic is Artie White, the Director of Place.
Mr. Chair?
Commissioner Keefe,
was
I was
gonna
thinking, can we wait till like we're done with the economy section and then we can add some commentary? So if you wouldn't mind, take a few notes and then we circle back to it as opposed to each speaker because we do have three more, big areas to get through. Is that cool
Sounds good.
with everybody? Thank you.
Later. All right. Thank you, Keith. Commissioners, as Ken noted a few moments ago, the area of economy has a lot under your strategic plan. And so I'm excited to build off of Keith's presentation to really talk about how infrastructure and planning and economic development go hand in hand in the Department of Place. Jump the gun a little bit. Through the Blueprint program, Leon County is making strategic investments in generational projects that are transforming our community. And I'll highlight a couple of these projects. We're on the third iteration of the sales surtax program, and the results are clear. If you look around our community, you can see completed projects. Down the slide. Slide. First project I'll highlight is the widening of Orange Avenue from Monroe Street to Blairstone, which was part of the original sales surtax program, which began in 1989. So going back many, many years. And that project actually ties into future improvements on Orange Avenue that we're currently coordinating with the Florida Department of Transportation on now. Cascades Park. Carrie Post is next, so I won't steal her thunder. But Cascades Park is a huge amenity to this community, and the Adderley Amphitheater hosts so many wonderful concerts and community events. And Franklin Boulevard, which is a project that alleviated massive flooding in this area, but did so in a way that improved safety for people who are walking and riding bikes, and just generally trying to have connectivity to the Smoky Hollow commemoration and Cascades Park. Since the start of the current strategic plan that you have now, we've seen the grand opening of the Debbie Lightsey Nature Park, which is a 113-acre natural area where people can go ride their bikes and go for a hike and go bird watching on the south side of Leon County. the completion of the Capital Cascade Segment 3, which brings the Skatable Art Project, which is a place where people of all ages can come together around skateboarding and skating. It also includes other amenities such as playgrounds and flood reduction and a lot of other activities along Fanview Way. And the new Buck Lake Trailhead, an expansion of the St. Mark's Headwaters Greenway, exemplifying the county's commitment to preserving natural areas while creating opportunities for recreation and community connections. With 25 of the 27 Blueprint 2020 projects currently underway, there's a lot more coming in the remainder of your current strategic plan. We just broke ground on the Northeast Park back in December, and in 2026, we'll have kids playing baseball at the fields at this park. And if the kids' parents are running late to their game, they can't blame traffic because we're widening Bannerman Road and constructing Malone Boulevard. So traffic won't be the issue. And these are the types of projects we're seeing all over the community. Everything from Magnolia Trail, which is currently under construction and is adding to livability by adding bicycle and pedestrian facilities along Magnolia Drive. Tharp Street, which is currently in a planning and engineering study right now, that will improve mobility and safety for people walking, for people riding their bikes, as well as people driving. And Capitol Circle Southwest, a project that was just awarded $90 million in Moving Florida Forward funds, and will complete the widening of Capitol Circle, project that's been ongoing for a number of years. This project will alleviate traffic and reduce idling and congestion, which will help reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And it'll also include mobility options for people who walk or ride their bike. In fact, today we see people using the trail along Capitol Circle to connect to the St. Mark's Trail, which provides more connectivity to Woodville and an entire regional network of trails on the southern side of Leon County. The widening of Capitol Circle is just one of the projects on Tallahassee's south side. In fact, there are 18 projects representing over $660 million on Tallahassee's south side. And these projects are the only projects you see Leon County investing in through the Blueprint program. If you look at all the investments from Leon County and the investments from the city of Tallahassee and other community partners, we see $1.13 billion being invested on the south side of Tallahassee and Leon County. These projects add capacity to major roadways. They add and extend sewer service and other infrastructure that will support more housing and more job opportunities in southern Leon County. Looking beyond the strategic plan horizon and over the next 5 years, we anticipate that and estimate that the Blueprint projects will add 20 million to minority and women-owned businesses and create over 6,000 jobs. These types of projects meet your strategic priority of the economy head-on by enhancing Leon County to attract and retain talent through world-class infrastructure projects. These types of projects are not only beneficial to the residents of Leon County, but also provide visitors to Tallahassee and Leon County with the best possible first impression. With that, Carrie Post will talk more about those visitors and all that she is doing to leverage the unique projects underway in Leon County.
Thank you, Artie. And I'm excited to share just a few highlights this morning on some of tourism's major projects. After all, it is often said that tourism is the first date of economic development because people will visit an area first, perhaps several times, before they start or expand a business here, before they make any real estate investments, before they choose to go to college or relocate. Tourism development really is a critical factor in expanding the diversity, competitiveness, and growth of our local economy. Last year was another record-breaking year for tourism, with nearly 2.5 million visitors having an economic impact of more than $1.3 billion, continuing our trajectory to exceed the $5 billion strategic plan bold goal over 5 years. And the board's leadership and participation in the bicentennial in 2024 has certainly contributed to that success. Commissioner Proctor, you were asked about the amounts. And we are at currently, the number I think you cited was our 2-year goal that was reported in February of last year. Because as of this year, as of 2024, 3 years in, tourism has had a $3.6 billion economic impact, which puts us 74% towards our goal. So, I'm so proud to say that the year-long bicentennial celebration and commemoration led by tourism was fully inclusive of our community, unlike celebrations in the past. And clearly, it expanded Leon County's visibility, viability, and visitation. It also increased our partnerships and impact in the community. Over the span of 2 years, and that includes 2023 because that was the planning year, there were more than 150 individuals actively involved in charting the course for the bicentennial. That includes the Bicentennial Steering Committee, several very productive bicentennial task forces that were directly involved in the planning and implementation of programming. The History Task Force and the Marketing Task Force were real rock stars. So in 2024, there were more than 200 bicentennial events. I'm so excited to share that. I think the total number was like 214. But there were more than 150 local organizations engaged in producing those bicentennial activities. And notably, of those 150 organizations, 65, more than 65, were new partnerships or expanded partnerships in the community. As you all know, there were numerous high-profile and high-impact bicentennial events throughout the whole year. I mean, started with the historic state government event at the Capitol, it was Bicentennial Springtime Tallahassee, the Jubilee Gospel Music Festival. There were bicentennial-themed cocktails and craft beers and numerous arts and culture and history, and the building of the first Florida Capitol log cabin in Cascades Park, and culminating with the epic T-Pain Coming Home concert, to name only a few highlights. And to put a bow on the spectacular bicentennial year, I'm also very proud to say that 2 weeks ago, the state of Florida Archives received hundreds of bicentennial materials and pictures and items to have in the official Florida State Archives documenting Tallahassee and Leon County's bicentennial in 2024 for all to see for generations to come. And certainly hosting the T-Pain concert last year was an exclamation point on another exciting year of major concerts at the Adderley Amphitheater. And we're beginning 2025 with an outstanding spring lineup, including Alison Krauss, and there's more to come. And at the board's direction, we've already begun reaching out to explore opportunities to partner with the larger venues, such as Tucker Center, Joe Campbell Stadium, to be able to host larger and more frequent concerts other than just at the outdoor amphitheater. So we've been exploring that and what exactly it would entail to rent either of those venues or to partner with these organizations for a county to host a concert there. So we're really excited about continuing to explore that. Looking ahead, there's a couple of big projects that are to come in the area of tourism. As you will recall, as we've shared, certainly 2024 was a year of some weather anomalies. I'll leave it at that. And certainly tourism staff has not been able to work in or operate the Visitor Information Center in that beautiful 165-year-old, but it was brand new 165-year-old building since the extensive damage from the May 10th tornadoes, which of course hit 1 year to the date of our grand opening. So with that, but thankfully, the repairs are anticipated to begin later this year with the goal of reopening early next year. So yeah, for that. So last, and then Matt, now would be the time. Lastly, and I saved the best for last, we are so excited and proud to be less than 1 year away from hosting the 2026 World Cross Country Championships. And which are essentially the Olympics of the sport of cross country. And it's going to be held right here in Tallahassee and Leon County at Appalachia Regional Park. Since 2013, tourism has hosted more than 75 local, state, and national cross-country championships at the award-winning, nationally renowned Appalachian Regional Park, ARP, as we like to call it, and soon to be world-renowned. The 2026 World Cross Country Championships are expected to draw teams from more than 60 countries, attract more than 10,000 spectators from Florida, the U.S., and the world, and it is estimated to generate $4.3 million in economic impact, in addition to being televised worldwide. So about 2 weeks ago, we hosted the one-year countdown community and fun run event out at ARP. And I want to thank you to those brave folks who came out in that wet and very cold morning, including Chairman Welsh and Commissioner O'Keefe. Thank you. And then a couple of days later, we turned around and hosted the first World Athletics site visit to Tallahassee and Leon County. So with more than 10 World Athletics officials here to see Appalachia Regional Park in person for the very first time, they were blown away. They also met with the championship co-chairs, which is Taylor Wheaton with tourism and Amanda Heidecker with parks. And while they were here, we convened the local organizing group comprised of numerous county departments and local sports leaders to review the myriad, truly myriad of goals, details, and deliverables required for hosting a global sports event. We were seeking 500 volunteers for the World Championship event, and we began putting the word out at the one-year countdown event about 2 weeks ago. And I'm thrilled to say we now have 509 volunteers already registered. And so we are well on our way to hosting the best World Athletics cross-country championships has ever seen. So much has gone into preparing Appalachian Regional Park to host the most prestigious cross-country event in the world. And you'll hear more from Maggie here in just a couple of moments about the county's advancement of Appalachian Regional Park and the investment of millions of dollars to transform an active solid waste facility into a prominent regional and soon-to-be international asset, all of which builds upon the county's commitment to our economy and the environment. So thank you, commissioners. I'd now like to turn it over to Nafal Azagagi to introduce the strategic priority area of the environment.
Thank you, Carrie. I think before we get into Nafal's group, we're going to, this is the way I'd like to do it in each area, guys. If you want to offer some commentary, please try to keep it brief. We got 3 more areas to go through. Those are great presentations. I just want to underscore the synergy between those areas. You notice that economic development is closely tied to planning, which is closely tied to tourism and activities and events. So I believe Commissioner O'Keefe had a few statements, and again, I would encourage everybody to try and be as brief as you can. We have 3 more areas to go through, and also Commissioner Maddox arrived somewhere. I was going to give him an opportunity to make some comments, but whenever he gets back, Commissioner O'Keefe, go right ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you so much. It's fantastic, like the chairman said, to see all the synergy and the success. But we all know that. I'm going to skip over it to be brief. My question is primarily on the OEV section. One thing I'm always keeping an eye on, and I want to try to get into our next study and strategic plan for OEV on what our industries are, is what I would describe as community needs gaps and using economic development to create the jobs we do in other industries, but get the double benefit of creating more. Specifically, what comes to mind is medical practices and offices, particularly mental health and other specialties, early learning, not supporting grants or anything, but recruiting more childcare facilities to open and expand. And then also for where there are food deserts, expanding and promoting economic development of those. And I know they're not in our target industries now based on our last study. And so I was wondering, when is the start of our next study coming up for those? So the metrics, so they can be graded supporting that. And if there are policies we need to change ahead of time, and if we want to direct OEV to include the community needs, impact of those new businesses and jobs, when would that start?
Well, thank you for that question. Our next targeted industry study, we're in the process right now of developing the RFP. We anticipate that it will be published probably in mid-February to late February. But we've already begun developing that. The previous one was done in 2017, so we are ready to move forward with the new iteration of that targeted industry study.
Thank you. And then this will be the first time I'm participating. Is that something, since it's OEV, that we discuss at Blueprint meetings or in the respective city and county meetings?
Well, it would definitely be a topic that we would discuss at a Blueprint meeting.
Gotcha. Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Proctor.
Carrie,
She's right behind you.
oh, I'm sorry. Carrie, I found it interesting that the World Cross Country officials came to Tallahassee last week and they were blown away by the course and all. I'm wondering, first, what is it about the course that blows the world away and we are not blown away locally? And in that regard, there are 2 points. First, if the world officials are blown away and come and seen this jewel that we possess, I'm interested in seeing the television rights reserved in part to our own station, 16, that it becomes a part, as a member of the TDC, myself, representing our board, that we're able to use it and to promote it. And as Commissioner Maddox in years past has suggested, that we get serious about sports and being a world center for amateur sports and sports tourism. And I think that us retaining the footage of anybody who's going to report on a world event, our lawyer ought to be able to salvage for us. Secondly, I'm concerned with preferential ticketing for local citizens. I don't want the world and somebody from, I can't think of another word, but Indonesia, wherever that is, they come here and get front row seats, and folk from Leon County are standing in the back. I want us to have preferential seating. Thank you. Those are my points.
Commissioner Proctor, to answer your first question on why the World Athletics officials were blown away, 2 main reasons. One is they've never seen a year-round, 365 days a year, it's amazing cross-country course, for one. And the whole campus, if you will, that we have it all. We have parking, we have, the infrastructure that the board has approved over the years. We are just completely already set up, whereas every other country has to build it. And then it's there and then it's gone. Whereas for years, we're already seeing people coming to train on the course now. And then we will continue to see not just more events coming our way, but people training, because will be a world championship course. So the fact that we have everything here already built that we're just going to enhance, they were blown away. The second part to that is the experience of the staff. As I referenced earlier, tourism has hosted more than 75 local, state, and national cross-country championships. So they're not used to a team that has done this so much. So the challenge really is, we've already got an excellent product, but with Worlds to elevate it even more, obviously. So they could not have been more pleased by not just the course, but the team, the community, everything that they saw here, the local organizing group. So again, we're so far advanced than where they thought, or, you would normally be like a year out. As far as using the footage of the race and the whole event, I would say absolutely, obviously there are media rights, so we'll have to figure out what we can air and what we can, but I would say it's in our backyard, it's our product, so we would have some rights. I'll go back and look further as what those are, but I would certainly have to believe we could showcase that on our channel. Absolutely. Lastly, is preferred ticketing for locals. Absolutely. You've been out to our you can view it from anywhere. I mean, whether you want to be at the starting line, the finish line, it's truly is our Augusta of cross country, that you could be there. And if they run by the front, there's jumbotrons and there's a leaderboard, but you can also then go to the backside and watch them go back there. So there will most likely be, and again, we haven't got the exact layout of the event yet, but there would be like events. I mean, what am I thinking of? Bleachers and stuff like that. So again, we'll make sure and work with that to make sure we have some reserve seating or whatever, but there's plenty of outstanding viewing on the course that nobody's going to be stuck behind.
Thank you, Carrie. Commissioner Maddox, I wanted to give you an opportunity to say good morning, everybody, and glad you're here. And if you have any comments on the economic development or economy stuff, go right ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everyone. Mr. Chair, retreat, the first one. Good for
Thank you.
Yeah. Kerry, first, let me, Bill, you may remember this. Appalachian Regional Park in this cross-country field was a result of a partnership between the county and FSU. FSU came to, I know they came to me and it probably came to others, and asked that we consider investing out there and creating a world-class park. And look where we are. And I don't think that we had any idea that it would be what it is right now and that it would be as big as it is. But we are a crown jewel when it comes to cross-country and tracks and fields. So want to thank FSU for that partnership and the vision they had to come to us and even ask us to consider. I think that was back when Coach Long was the coach. That was Bremen? It was Bremen. Yeah, Coach
Gulf
Bremen.
wins.
Yeah, right. And Gulf wins. And Gulf wins as well. So that's a lot about how we got here. But it got me to thinking, we talk a lot about the sports and sports facility and where it might be and how it might be. I was thinking more so this was just a piece of land that we had that someone else saw and had a vision for, and we were able to invest. And I would believe that at this point, Kerry, if you correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure we've got our return on investment from the property and investments that we made 10 times over. I even venture to say, I don't know how much we invested, but it's probably minimal compared to what it's going to give us back over time. When I think about Leon County, City of Tallahassee, what comes to mind is our I won't say rural nature, but we love our trails, we love our trees, we love the natural features of our community. And so this was a piece of land that we invested in, became a world-class track. It made me think, yes, we're talking about, building facilities and all that kind of stuff, but is there a more immediate opportunity for us, let's say biking trails or something like that, where we could start to invest in some part of our community that could create another jewel like we have at Appalachian Regional Park, where we will become world-renowned and a place to come to for national tournaments and stuff like that. I remember one time we was talking about, was it Frisbee golf out there or something like that? Right. It was something that we were talking about, but I'm interested in, if we can't be traditional when it comes to, basketball, football, soccer, and all the tournaments come here for that, is there some kind of way we can build out our natural features in a way that lends itself to different kinds of sports coming here? Because people can say all day that we don't have the hotels, we don't have we don't have all that kind of stuff, but we got the world championships coming out. It's obvious that we have enough to get them here. It's just investing in the right thing for us to get to attract the facilities that would attract the right kind of thing.
Carrie, if I could, just real quick, because Carrie's got the good answer on this, but let me just tell you that when Maggie goes, she's going to be talking about phase 2 of the master plan of ARP, which contemplates exactly the type of things that you're talking about. And again, it's going to be a really exciting thing to get into this year, consistent with our strategic initiatives on that. But you hit the nail on the head when you talked about biking, because there's a very similar opportunity out there to what we did with the cross-country facility with biking courses.
Great.
Real quickly, Carrie.
With that, I mean, exactly that. This board approved our master plan, Appalachian Regional Park Master Plan, in which Maggie's going to touch on exactly that. We're already a multi-use park right now, but exactly what is coming in phase 2 will exactly give us the new resources to market to bring events here. So it's a perfect segue into, you're going to hear more from Maggie, but that is exactly what was planned and is about to happen out at Appalachia Regional Park, and we're well poised to take advantage of it.
Thank you, Carrie. Commissioner Parker, real quick.
Real quick, the financials, what comes into the county's coffers? What are the rights? What are they paying? Can you share at some point, financial projections of the financial benefits, which, is it the World Council of Cross Country that pays us? I like to know those things at some point.
I can either address this now, or we can come back and provide more
If
detail.
it's information you're asking for, Commissioner Proctor.
It doesn't have to occur today.
Yeah,
But I
just get us-
think
get
that
us some
the board
information on the
deserves to
impact.
know the financial benefits of them coming here.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Carrie. And then just real quickly to wrap this up, I just want, Commissioner Maddox, you're spot on. I think you're absolutely right. We've got proof of concept now. You could see the World Mountain Biking Championships coming here, or, you know, whatever, the Warrior Dash Championships. I mean, whatever. We've got the infrastructure and the proof of concept. And I just want to say, and from my perspective, I want to also mention the importance of that MDSM conference that Keith has got coming. Where are you at, Keith? Behind me somewhere. I would like us as a board, or whoever, as a blueprint board or whatever, to direct Keith. We need that every year. There's no reason that conference shouldn't just occur here every year. We have the largest magnet in the world. Every magnet person in the world is going to come here for this conference. That's something we really need to just get every year. Okay, so on that, we'll wrap it up. Thank you guys so much. And we'll move. Oh, I'm sorry. Commissioner Minor had a comment. I'm so
Yeah, I
sorry.
did. Thank you.
Sorry.
Appreciate
Oh,
it.
sorry. I did not see you guys. My apologies.
It's all right.
And our-
No problem at all.
Carrie, don't go anywhere. Commissioner Minor, go ahead.
I'll be very quick. First of all, I want to thank Keith, Kevin, Artie, and Ken, and their teams for all the great work on economic work. Really terrific. I had a question for Mr. Bowers about the MDSM conference.
The what?
The Magnetics Conference.
Magnet, okay.
So outstanding get on that. It's a huge victory for us to host that here. We should be doing everything we can to roll out the red carpet for that event. In my mind, it's almost rises to the level of the cross-country championships, because for years, we've been talking about trying to cultivate a magnetics industry cluster here in Leon County. This is the best opportunity we've had since forever on trying to speak directly to those companies and entice them to come here. So we need to do everything we can in the short window that we have to make sure that anyone that comes to this conference sees that Leon County, Tallahassee, this entire community is 110% interested in bringing them here to Tallahassee. So Keith, I wanted to ask you about that, because I know it's coming up February 18th to the 20th, so we don't have much time at all, right? But what are we doing right now to make sure that anyone who comes to the conference knows that this community is full throttle in support of them being here and possibly even forming tighter connections? We should be having marketing materials all throughout the airport. We should have welcome signage all throughout the city and county. And our business community leaders, some of them have talked to me about wanting to be very involved with the preparation for that conference, so that attendees see the business community here as well as just the conference itself.
Thank you for that comment and that question, Commissioner Minor. We have, first of all, we've been planning for this since June of 2024. We've involved Visit Tallahassee, Florida State, FAMU, Tallahassee State College, as well as CMR and the county, and the city communications. One of the major things that we're doing is hosting a happy hour reception on the first day of the conference on the 19th. We're inviting community leaders, business leaders. All of you will receive an invitation to participate. We are actually co-hosting a reception lounge at the exhibit hall with Florida State. All of the components for their research facilities will be there. And then going back to what you're saying in terms of rolling out the red carpet, we met with the folks at the airport. We'll have special signage at the airport. So as people arrive at Tallahassee, welcoming them to Tallahassee specifically for the conference. The mayor's office, in conjunction with Florida State, has commissioned a levitating magnetic sculpture that we hope to have here in time. And that will be also on display at the Civic Center in the exhibit hall. As it relates to the programming itself, we have reached out to, I know I mentioned to Commissioner Welch that we're wanting to find an opportunity for him to bring greetings on behalf of the county. Mayor Daley is actually bringing greetings on behalf of the city. We have lined up Florida A&M Marching 100 to kick off the event that morning. The band will come in and perform for about 7 minutes, and then they'll be followed by the mayor. President McCullough is on the program to provide keynotes, and then we'll also be hearing from President Bearden as well from FAMU. So we are in fact coordinating a community-wide effort to make sure that the red carpet is out and prominently displayed as these companies come into our community.
Thank you, Keith. Hold on, Commissioner Proctor. Guys, we are running way behind, so we've got to pick up the pace. Commissioner Caban's before you, Commissioner Proctor, and then I'll let you close it out, Commissioner Proctor. Keith, I would like to see that conference here every year. I don't know if that's possible, but man, let's do something to make that happen. Commissioner Caban.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I do have some questions for Artie, Artie White.
All right, Artie, you want to come back up here?
And while I wait for him to come up here, I do want to just echo a couple of the sentiments from our colleagues. Commissioner Maddox, I fully agree with your sentiment on tourism in regards to using our natural features to bring in more tourism events. It's actually, I plan on bringing that up a little bit later in the meeting, specifically for my district in regards to enhancing our natural features to bring more tourism events. So I love where your head's at with that sentiment. And then Commissioner Minor, I wholeheartedly agree. You know, Marion County is known for the World Equestrian Center, and what they've done over the last, and you know, I was raised in Ocala, so I'm very familiar with the territory. What they have done by utilizing their culture of being horse capital of the world to bring in private investment along with government dollars to create the World Equestrian Center, and it's right now it's becoming one of the top economic drivers for Florida. Bringing folks in from all over the world. You know, when I was in Ireland earlier this year to watch FSU play in the Dublin game out there, I met folks who are from Dublin who have a connection now to Marion County because they trade horses through the World Equestrian Center. And so I think if we put our heads together and really look at finding more private partners, in conjunction with the Mag Lab, I think that we could be known by being, magna capital of the world and really bring in some serious investment behind that. So I love where your head's at, Commissioner Minor, with that. Director White, I have a few questions. I know you brought up the airport gateway, and it's been a while since our last blueprint meeting because I know the last one got canceled. A few questions I have is, one, where are we on the MOU with Florida State? Have we taken that to the next step and gotten a signed MOU, or are we still in the LOI phase? Where is that?
We've been working very closely, Commissioner, with Florida State University and are just about to finalize the JPA with FSU. So they're kind of reviewing it. We've gone back and forth a few times, and we're pretty much right at the end of getting that finalized.
Are there any further steps after that, or would that be the last step to transfer the land?
There'll be a couple of steps. I'll have to go to the state, have some of those approvals done, but the JPA is kind of the big step.
Yeah, specifically where in the state?
It's the property is kind of leased by Florida State University from the Trust for the TIIFT. I forget what that stands for, Trust for Internal, I forget what it's called, but Florida State doesn't own the property. The state of Florida owns the property, and Florida State leases it. So it'll have to go to the property owner for final approval.
Okay, thank you. And then I noticed that has staff had any conversations with FDOT in regards to you know, I know in some previous blueprint material, we've talked about their partnership and funding certain phases of the airport gateway. Have we had any further conversation with them?
I mean, we coordinate with Florida State University on an ongoing basis, or the Florida Department of Transportation on an ongoing basis. I mentioned the Orange Avenue widening. That's one that we're actively kind of working with them on. And then, of course, anytime any other segments intersect, we have to look at those intersections with them. And also some of the bridges that are being built, we're working with DOT on those as well.
So commissioners, so everyone's on the same page. We had some conversations with FDOT, our office did, in regards to funding on the airport gateway. And they informed us that there's no funding currently allocated in the 5-year budget for any segments of the airport gateway. So I just want to be clear, you know, as we kind of go through this process throughout the next few years, that I don't think there's not a plan in the next 5 years for any participation from the state in that regard. Last point is Tharp Street. I saw that there was an update in Tharp Street in this material. Are we still on pace for that project?
We are. We expect the planning and engineering study I mentioned, PD&E study, project development and environment. We anticipate that being completed a little bit later this year. We're hoping for the second quarter of this year. Could be the third quarter, but we're aiming for the second quarter, and then we would start moving into the design. But the PD&E will really help kind of lay the path for implementation.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate all y'all's efforts and work on these projects. Thank you.
Commissioner Proctor? you
Thank
wanna
you,
wrap it up
Chairman.
real quick?
On that last point, I noted on page 44 on that Thorpe Street, I was very disappointed with the finding that some study did not think it necessary to widen 4 lanes of Thorpe Street. I thought that was crazy. And I understand why it's 4 lane in front of Ross School, Thorpe Street, but it is not 4 lane west of Godby School. It makes no sense. And we need to revisit that. This is lame, lazy thinking thought. It needs to be aggressive, progressive, and in step with what we see. Do you know how many neighborhoods are contiguous feet off of Thorpe? And this report tells us that there's no need to widen. It's crazy. This may not be the meeting, but put an asterisk there. This is horrible, whatever came out. Mr. Chairman, just quickly, some report said some planets, whatever a planet is, I don't know what it is, are supposed to align sometime. But before those planets align, this is a rare moment. You, Minor, and Proctor aligned on something. This is rare.
Look to the western sky.
This magnetic idea is a breakthrough moment that there's probably consensus all around this table. I would like to make a motion, Mr. Chairman, that we ask staff to exhaustively look at the idea that you put forward. What do we do to induce the continuation of the meeting for the next 3-4 years and come up with a packet if it includes cheap to no cost on hotels, if it includes transportation, undergirding, if it includes whatever the inducements, incentives. I'd like to see us package a proposal that extends a 3-year invite, that Tallahassee is an open door with steep and deep discounts for their coming here. And what can we do to exhaustively present as the strong reasons for your coming and to make that available. We got to pitch them. It's just like, a real, just like somebody you saw on campus and you really needed to pitch strong.
That's right, that's
what
right.
I'm
Trying to
saying.
get a date.
Yeah, so I'd like to make a motion that staff bring us back a comprehensive report at the March meeting, I guess, on what we can do to pitch and make our community the magnetic. I mean, China, I've read that China is interested in magnets. If they can see it, Leon County, we can see it, and we got a big old, we need to partner, blow it up, make it big. I make that motion that we bring something back special.
Thank you,
very soon.
Commissioner Proctor.
Mr. Chair, I second the motion. If it's
We take
appropriate,
motions?
is it
that something we
appropriate?
do here?
Mr. Chair.
Can we just hold it till tomorrow night and do it in commissioner time at our meeting?
Actually, I think that sounds like more in line, and I'm looking to the Mr. Administrator and Attorney for this, of a strategic initiative.
Certainly could.
Yeah. So maybe later when we get to our strategic initiatives,
Could-
we'll
could-
do that.
Tomorrow.
Just, I mean, because there's a lot of verbiage there. Is there some kind of way staff
We
can
can-
go ahead and take that
Work on
down?
it right
We can
now.
draft
Yeah.
it. Sure.
So there's, okay, thank you.
Commissioner Cummings, I
And
don't
Mr.
want to
Chair-
leave you out.
Well, may I just add to this too? I like Commissioner Proctor's motion, whether it's appropriate or not, but I think the first step would probably also be, I know for staff to bring something back, but apparently, Mr. Bowers and his staff have done a yeoman's job. And I think we can start with their blueprint for what they have done, and we just multiply that and advance that year after year. So I think certainly it's a great step, and if we can make sure we have this amazing conference year after year, I agree with Commissioner Proctor. And if it's appropriate tomorrow when we have our meeting, then I'm certainly on board.
Thank you, Commissioner Cummings. I think we could ask staff to work on it now. After our CSC presentation, you can make, perhaps address it as a strategic initiative. Staff can then take that direction, and we can ask for it to come back at the March meeting, which is after the conference, because the conference is next month in February. But
But
we
we still need a proposal before they come. We need fast, quick.
Well, I think
service.
they're coming this time, so we got them this time. We just want to work on something to get them the next time and the next time and the next time. So, we can work on that package.
We can talk about it
after
tomorrow
February.
night
Yes, sir.
to expedite something.
I think Commissioner Maddox is right. We can ask staff to work on some kind of language for a strategic initiative at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And then we can also talk about it tomorrow in Commissioner time if you want to make a motion then. But I think adding it to strategic initiative, we can ask staff to bring us a report in March with a package.
Okay, I withdraw motion, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Proctor. Okay, we're going to move on to our second area, which is environment. I would remind you guys, it's 10:45. We were supposed to get to Ms. Green at 10:40. So you guys, I know, have 5 minutes apiece. Is there any way you could bring that down to 2.5 minutes apiece? And then commissioners, please limit our questions to be as efficient as we can. So we've got 3 more strategic areas to get through before we break, and then we'll get to Ms. Green after the break. So go ahead, Nafal.
Well, thank you, Commissioner. Good morning, Commissioners, and thank you for the opportunity to cover one of my favorite topics, the environment. And the county's continuous efforts to ensure we are responsible stewards of our precious natural resources, which constitute a vital component of our community's health, economic strength, and social offerings. I'm going as fast as I can. In that, I want to note that Leon County's strategic priority resides in protecting the quality and supply of our water, promoting orderly growth and sustainable practices, reducing our carbon footprint, conserving and protecting environmentally sensitive lands and our natural ecosystem by being a responsible steward of our precious natural resources, which includes our acclaimed canopy roads and trees in general. And Commissioners, as previously requested by the board, you will find the status report on Leon County's tree management policies and procedures, which the board requested at its October 8th meeting. This report captures the county's role in working with our community partners, from the permitting of development and associated tree mitigation to coordinating with our utility providers to ensure their general utility permits cover the necessary tree management around power lines to provide reliable service. This report also highlights the county's role in preserving our trees and captures the county's responsibilities for the management and maintenance of trees within county-owned properties and along county-maintained roadways. Circling back to the county's strategic priority and to highlight advancements Leon County achieved in reducing our carbon footprint, promoting environmental protection and preservation, and protecting our water quality, Maggie Teria, our Office of Resource Stewardship Director, and Brent Pale, our Public Works Director, cover a couple of our initiatives that are being effectuated that direct beneficial impact to the environment, and provide an overview of past and future projects at the Appalachian Regional Park and water quality achievements through our septic sewer project. And at this time, I yield the podium to Maggie so she may tell us about the Appalachian Regional Park that we're proposing beyond. Thank you.
All right, good morning. I'm going to keep the show moving. So bringing the county's first regional park to fruition is a massive undertaking. No doubt it is requiring all hands on deck from public works, parks, solid waste, and tourism. in addition to many third-party engineers, experts, and stakeholders. Together, we have made significant progress, which I'll give a brief highlight. But before I do so, I do want to provide a little bit of context for the site that we keep proudly referencing as ARP. Out of the 600 acres of this parcel, we have 45% is either former landfill, as you see in those red zones, or low-lying areas. So we are limited on that traditional development of a traditional park when we think in those terms. We are limited to the zones in yellow for that high, dry, and stable land that we have already significantly invested in. Keeping it brief, I'll just hit on a couple notable highlights. Your past efforts have seen strategic initiatives both on the closure of the landfill and also creation of the regional park for the last 15 years, since 2015. In 2017, this body moved forward with creating a master plan that sets a vision for all 600 acres of the property. Most notable to date is the creation, as highlighted by Carrie, of the cross-country venue. This includes the primary facilities and the permanent infrastructure that she noted is catching so many people's attention around the world. In this time, since the 2017 master plan, much of the plan has gone from vision to reality. We have a radio control field. We have 6 miles of existing trails. And Commissioner Maddox, I'm going to get to adding additional exciting trails here briefly, and host many state and national events. All right, so as we look ahead, you can tell it's my fast forward version. As we look ahead, in spring, we are going to be opening the region's largest dog park, 2 acres of open free play for those big and little dogs. But in addition, what is going to make this really unique is there is an agility course, both for big dogs and a separate agility course for those littles. I can tell you it's not just us that are excited. We've even had interest from LCSO's Canine Unit reach out to see how they could maybe gain access to this unique park coming up. All right. Let me see in the highlight reel. Of course, we have World's Cross Country coming in January of next year, as Carrie highlighted, and then some very significant steps that you can look forward to in the calendar year ahead, which we will be coming back with a feasibility study on the related cost and opportunities with a third-party vendor for phase 2 of the master plan. This is the second and final phase of developing these 600 acres. But as noted, this land is very unique in that we have landfill and low-lying areas. So we are looking to maximize the closure of the landfill cell, which you actually will have an agenda tomorrow night that covers the closure of the landfill as led by Public Works. And so we're not waiting until that project is complete in December of 2026. We're beginning now looking at to maximize that cell. And I think you'll be of particular interest here from the earlier conversation. The word of the day, cyclocross. If you're like me, I had to do a deep dive and really learn. We are envisioning that the closure of the landfill, which think of it as a pretty steep hill, that otherwise it's just kind of barren. We are hoping to activate a very unique feature that will bring many state and regional and national events here. If I could highlight, even the Paris Olympics in 2024 featured a cycling event on a closed landfill. So not only will these be that leveraging of the event infrastructure that this board has invested so heavily in the last few years in building the momentum and all of the publicized efforts of tourism. But we look to bring new audiences, new interests, and new revenue opportunity for this somewhat limited site that we have in front of us. We're very excited about that, and that feasibility study by a third party will help ensure that we're on the right path when it comes to these bright ideas. All right, I am coming in for the home landing. While Office of Resource Stewardship is busy working on the landfill and the proper closeout of solid waste, Brent and the Public Works team are busy working on a not so solid waste project, bringing change-making infrastructure to the sensitive primary springs protection zone. Brent will tell us more about the septic to sewer efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you, Maggie. In addition to efforts like ensuring that we close our landfill in an environmentally responsible manner and preparing the site to be a world-class facility, The county's commitment to protecting the environment also includes not so sexy infrastructure projects like septic to sewer conversion and the primary springs protection zone. The county has made tremendous progress since the start of the five-year strategic plan in advancing our environment strategic priorities to protect our water supply and ecosystem through hundreds of conversions from septic to sewer and septic system upgrades. Before I dive into that, I'd like to provide a little more detail on why these efforts are so critical for the protection of our environment. Through these projects, we continue to protect water quality by preventing raw sewage contamination from leaching into the groundwater, treating wastewater prior to being released back into the environment. This, in turn, reduces bacteria and nutrient loads from compromising the purity of our lakes, rivers, and streams, and ultimately our drinking water. With this in mind, we've been working hard to preserve water quality for citizens through our advancement of the county's bold goal to upgrade and eliminate 500 septic tanks in the primary springs protection zone by 2026. These projects were undertaken with the first of its kind partnership with Florida Department of Environmental Protection, providing multi-year matching funds via the Springs Improvement Plan, the dedication of county's local sales tax funds for water quality projects, and substantial success in pursuing state grants with proven results. The county and FDP have invested over $42 million for a series of Southside sewer projects over the last 5 years. These projects include Woodside Heights, Bel Air Annawood, Northeast Lake Munson, and Woodville. To date, the Woodside Heights and Bel Air Annawood projects have been completed, demonstrating an investment of $9.6 million to provide sewer to 319 properties. Looking ahead, the completion of Northeast Lake Munson and Woodville Sewer Phase 1 projects are on the horizon with over $32.5 million invested to provide sewer to 389 properties. The remaining 3 phases of Woodville Sewer Project require an additional $82.8 million to construct and will allow an additional 864 properties to connect to sewer. In addition to sewer conversions, the county has also completed hundreds of septic system upgrades through the county's Advanced Treatment Pilot Program and Septic Upgrade Incentive Program. Through these programs, the county will upgrade nearly 400 additional septic systems to advanced treatment by leveraging over $2 million in grant funding through the remainder of our 5-year plan. If our efforts don't stop there, the county continues to apply for additional grants to further leverage our dollars and to continue to upgrade and replace septic systems. These sewer conversion and septic upgrade projects protect water quality and also protect environmentally sensitive lands and our natural ecosystems. These projects were designed and implemented to improve the quality of life for the citizens in these underserved areas of Leon County. Speaking of quality of life, this is the perfect segue to now introduce my friend and colleague, Shinkton Lambie, who is here to introduce quality of life initiatives that the county has undertaken in recent years.
Thank you, Brent. That closes out the environment sector. Do any commissioners have a quick comment, question? Seeing none, that's great. Thank you, Brent and Maggie and Nafal. All right, Shinkton, carry on, man.
All right, thank you, Brent. Thank you. Good morning, commissioners. So I'm going to really take a moment where we're going to talk about some of the fantastic happenings in infrastructure happening through quality of life, through the lens of quality of life. The next few presentations will highlight specific projects that provide examples of the strides that we're making to advance our strategic plan. Abby Thomas will touch on the county's recent success and commitment to increase the infrastructure of affordable housing. Pamela Monroe will provide an update on the implementation of our Essential Library Initiative, or ELI, including updates on renovations at our main library that are advancing our social infrastructure. And Amanda Heidecker will present on improvements to our community center, where we're investing in infrastructure that is revitalizing neighborhoods and will improve the lives of our residents and enhance our rural communities for generations to come. All these project commissioners are critical and aligned with our strategic plan, commitment of making Leon County a place where our people are healthy, safe, and connected to their community. And that connection all starts with the home. So I will turn it now over to Abby to talk more about the great stuff we're doing with affordable housing.
Thank you, Shinkton.
I'm excited to highlight a few of our projects and investments that are a direct result of the county's commitment to increasing the stock of affordable housing for our low-income families. Since the start of the current strategic plan, the county's invested $5.8 billion in direct funding and authorized $183 million in bond financing for the development and redevelopment of affordable housing, including Columbia Gardens and Ridge Road on the south side. The county's investment has helped secure more than $125 million in additional federal state, and private financing, which will lead to 1,200 new units in the next 18 months, with more than 100 units for our highest needs households, or those with very low and extremely low income. Looking ahead, the county is implementing policies such as the Live Local Act, adopted by the Florida legislature, as an opportunity to leverage our momentum and support even more new units. The Live Local Act provides up to 100% property tax exemption and permits the highest allowable use on density, parking, and height for multifamily and mixed-use projects that dedicate units for low-income housing. Additionally, the county continues to use key partnerships such as that with the local HFA to bring instrumental housing projects such as the Lake Bradford Apartments to our community. Construction at Lake Bradford is imminent, and we're currently working with the developer to schedule a groundbreaking event. And as soon as we know that, we will share it with the commission. This project is really important because it addresses our highest need households and sets aside 158 units exclusively for very low and extremely low income households, with 25% or 39 of those units to extremely low households. And this wouldn't have been possible without the $35 million bond authorized by the board in October, as well as our strategic partners such as the Housing Authority and the city. While these partnerships are critical to meeting our local needs, the county also regularly applies for additional funding to expand our housing programs. And hot off the press is this morning we were notified that we were awarded the $750,000 from the state, which we will use to rehab 13 homes for low-income families in unincorporated Leon County. Constructing and investing in affordable housing is one of the many ways the county is improving the lives of our citizens. And by the end of our current strategic plan, 1,200 new units will have been created for low-income households. However, just as construction is ongoing, so is the conversation. Tomorrow, you'll see another item discussing opportunities to enhance affordable rental units, including potential changes to SHIP through state legislation that will allow for even greater investment in affordable rental units. The board's ongoing actions around housing help ensure that all citizens have a safe and affordable place to live and thrive. However, we know Leon County is not only a special place to live and work, but it's also a great place for our families to play and learn, which brings us to our next speaker, Pamela Monroe, who will discuss the innovative ways the library is enhancing the quality of life of our citizens every single day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Abby. As envisioned with the county strategic plan, the Essential Libraries Initiative, or ELI, is leading to amazing transformations at our libraries through programs and infrastructure. As you remember, the ELI was adopted to ensure that the Leon County Public Library System remains a relevant and essential resource to our residents now and into the future by addressing changing needs and usage. The goal is to demonstrate that our libraries continue to be more than just a book warehouse. They are our community's epicenter of learning, engagement, and innovation. Over the past year, this was accomplished through over 2,500 programs, including story times, lectures, book clubs, and special events, resulting in an 11% increase in library attendance, bringing the total to nearly 50,000 participants. As the needs of the community evolve, so is the way our citizens access information. With this in mind, one of our major efforts led through the ELI has been the redesign of the library's website to improve navigation. And since its launch last year, we have seen a 24% increase in digital checkouts of ebooks, audiobooks, and so much more. Our community resource specialists, a professional social worker, connected nearly 700 library patrons to essential services such as housing, food, and employment. As we continue to move forward, we are expanding programs to include reading for all ages as we launch adult summer reading program in June. In July, our Lake Jackson branch will offer Maker Lab programming designed for creative patrons and those of you who would like to explore creativity. We are also celebrating our 10th anniversary of the Seed Library program, which plays a vital role in combating food insecurity. We're working very closely with CMR to refine our library signage and marketing programs system-wide. And I would be remiss, commissioners, if I did not mention the phase 1 second floor renovations at the main library, which covers approximately 8,000 square feet, which is expected to be completed by the end of the summer. And phase 2 of the first floor of the main library renovation, which is in the design phase, and will include the library themed storefront, cafe, makerspace, and so much more. And this project, which is slated to begin in fiscal year 26. All of these improvements through the Essential Libraries Initiative will ensure that our libraries continue to serve as critical social infrastructure, which will advance our community's quality of life. And next, you will hear from Amanda Heidecker from Parks and Recreation on other efforts we're leading to advance our strategic priority of providing relevant and essential offerings through our libraries and community centers, which promote lifelong learning and social equity.
Thank you, Pamela.
Thanks, Pamela. In advancing our quality of life, a strategic priority area, we're doing so much to enhance and expand our county parks and recreation offerings through our county park. I could spend the entire retreat talking about all the exciting work taking place across all 60 of our parks, but we're limited on time. So I'm going to be highlighting on 2 of our community centers. Just as a quick reminder, Leon County has 6 community centers, which collectively host events like baby showers, family reunions, weddings, and other memorable moments for over 2,500 events each year. Uniquely, today we'll be talking about Miccosukee and the Fort Brady Community Centers, previously served as schools for their respective communities. As Leon County recently acquired these buildings from Leon County School Board, the sites continue to evolve as a critical community hub. I'm first going to focus on the transformation of, as all you know, the Concord School into the new Miccosukee Community Center and the steps that led us there. As you'll see on the screen, in 2016, the county led a spearhead sense of place plan, which included key objectives to consolidate the community center within the amenities of the Concord School site, as the existing center had reached its end of life. Being a natural community hub, the property surrounding the Concord School already has county ball fields, a playground, basketball courts, making the investment in the Concord School a worthy venture. As steps towards executing the sense of place plan, the Concord School property and building were successfully transferred from the school board to Leon County government in 2018. Throughout the sense of place plan in the years to follow, the county organized in-depth community engagement, seeking diverse perspectives to ensure the building and surrounding features reflected the needs and interests of Miccosukee residents. Even the architect that is leading this construction project took place in those sense of place meetings. Looking ahead, the county is a recipient of significant federal grants and is investing over $5 million to transform this aged school building into a community gem for generations to come. The building has been renovated both inside and out, as you can see up on the screen. Anticipated to open this April, the building features a transformed community room, a programming room, a history picture wall, walking trails, a new playground, and renovated basketball court. But something that really excites me about this space is that the Boys and Girls Club children who want to occupy the building will be able to engage in activities in one wing, while there will be a community celebration be able to take place in the main gathering room, all while baseball or softball practice can be happening outside. The county's investment has resulted in a truly dynamic space for this rural community to gather. Shifting now over to Fort Braden, another special rural community, much like the Miccosukee Center, Fort Braden building once served as a school and has recently been acquired from the school board to the county, making a notable investment in this space. It is hard to believe, but this building will turn 100 years old next year. All things considered, the building is in great shape, but it is time for us to invest in the structural integrity and shine the space up a bit, ensuring the building remains a community gem for generations to come. These updates are actually underway now, with exterior renovations taking place next week. But I got a little ahead of myself. Excited about some renovations that have already taken place and occurred to breathe new life into the Fort Brady community space. Since we're taking ownership of the Fort Brady Community Center in 2022, Leon County has since installed a new playground, as you can see here. Many of you were involved in that ribbon cutting. We created a new lighted half-mile concrete walking path that features an exercise station, a wander and wonder story walking in collaboration with the library and KCCI, along with the unique history of Fort Brady. But we're not done. As with Miccosukee, this rural community has very limited space to gather or rent, making investment in the community center and the surrounding park even more vital. Moving forward, as I mentioned, the center will be refreshed inside and out. It will receive a new basketball court and enhanced parking. But all of this is just infrastructure. With no community after-school programming in the Fort Brady area. The county has partnered with the Boys and Girls Club, with more than 60 children now benefiting from after-school programming and summer programming. Bringing even more value to Leon County, we partnered with Children's Service Council to bring a family resource center. You'll be hearing much more about this, as mentioned before, from Sika Green. She'll be joining you shortly for that discussion. Again, investing in the community and infrastructure for the generations to come. As I mentioned, everyone in the commission will be invited. We'll be opening the new Miccosukee Community Center this April. The family resource activation at the Fort Brady Center coming this spring. The Boys and Girls activation will take place this upcoming summer, 2025. And the 100-year celebration of the Fort Brady Community Building in the winter of 2026. With that, commissioners, I'd like to hand it over to Matt, setting the highest standard for governance. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. Before we move on to our last section of governance, are there any comments or questions? Commissioner Cummings?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I just want to thank Mr. Lambie and his staff for the quality of life presentations. But I want to ask specifically about the housing project, affordable housing project on Lake Bradford Road.
Abby?
And I know the county was involved.
158 new units.
158 units that's totally devoted to low income, and a certain amount of those apartments is devoted to very low income. I guess my question is the process. This was a situation apparently where the developer already owned the land. It looks like there's a partnership with the Tallahassee Housing Authority as well, and they came to the county, and we were involved with the bond financing and what have you. Is that generally the state, when they come to the county and ask for bonding security, that the developer already owns the property and not the county is the owner of the property?
Yeah, it happens in all sorts of ways. This one was unique in that it received financing from the state through sale loan of $7 million from Florida Housing Finance. They received funding from the city. And then, like you mentioned, the Housing Authority was able to come in and offer housing vouchers so they could provide more units to low income. But yeah, it just, sometimes they own it outright. Sometimes they have an idea of a piece of land that they're working to acquire. And then we also always look at our different land that we have with real estate to see if land that we own would be suitable for affordable housing. If it is, we see what we can do there. It's not, we sell it off, and then we use that funding through the HFA to support more housing.
And then just one more question, Mr. Chair. Do you know, was there any specific incentive for this particular complex to be totally devoted to low income and have a certain amount of the units set aside for very low? Was there some incentivization for the developer to do that, or was it the location?
Part of it was just the ability to get that partnership with the Housing Authority,
Okay.
as well as the sale funding.
The state housing authority as well as Tallahassee Housing Authority.
So it really, a lot of these deals are just who can help finance them and what does that lead to? And in this case, it led to a really great result of 158 units for exclusively low income, very low income.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Cummings. Commissioner Proctor, real briefly.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I like to suggest and even promote the idea, consistent with what Ms. Pamela Monroe said to us, that we change the name of the library. It's such a stagnant concept to the Leon County Library Citizen Resource Center. What she's been saying over the last 3 years is a continuing expansion of what they do, what they encompass, what you can come to the library space to achieve. And it seems that, and I say that, my mother's a librarian, 40 years, but still the expanding services and role deserves us to take a look at the name adapting to the services. So I love to see us do that. Secondly, on the Miccosukee Community Center that we put millions of dollars in, and I'm excited. But, Mr. Chairman, your district, I'm not talking about the bricks and mortar, but the flesh and blood, the governance and governing structure over the center. Have the kinks been worked out there? Is Black people and white people out there still grappling over who's large and in charge? I think that we would feel better that prior to April to have a sit down with stakeholders, that's no longer a continuing problem. And then finally, as this vast information has come, it occurs to me, are we interested and can we explore the Leon County home initiative for our employees of 5 years or greater who've put equity in the county? Some communities actually assist, be it down payment, a number of arrangements, but I've thought this idea for years, and even in desired areas, be it in the county space or in affordable living areas, some governing structures, in particular when they're trying to put a certain type of citizen in areas, they underscore it by financing. I would be curious to know what are the range of possibilities that we could do to assist our Leon County employees in the area of home initiative. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Proctor. I think we'll ask staff to bring back an item on the library renaming and look into the community center issue out in Miccosukee, make sure everything is copacetic. And we can ask staff to bring back an item at a regular meeting in regards to your ideas. Or perhaps tomorrow night during commissioner time, you could give us a little more finer point on those ideas for down payment assistance or whatever for county employees that we were talking about. And maybe they can bring back an item.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Bring us home.
Okay, Matt is going to give our last presentation on governance. Go right ahead.
Commissioners, I know better than to stand between the brick that is on the side real quick. So allow me to be brief. But I'm giving a bit of a lightning round for governance. You saw an incredible amount of material already, and that was just the tip of the iceberg. An incredible amount of day-to-day commitment from the county goes into the implementation of your strategic plan. And there's a lot to be proud of. So when we talk about that, I could talk about in the area of governance, the commitment to our exceptional bond rating. I could talk about the hundreds of awards from national, state to local. I could talk about the ongoing commitment from recruitment and retention of some of the most stellar county employees. But I'm really just going to hit a few areas very, very briefly for you. What'll be our success in the digital space, our commitment to resilience, then finally our public and face-to-face engagement. Again, all driven by the day-to-day commitment of the county's commitment to the strategic plan. So to start off, I want to talk about the digital space. Again, an incredible amount of engagement with citizens happens within the digital space. When we had relaunched the website just earlier, if we look back to just some of the most recent successes as driven by the strategic plan. If I was to say to you that I could quadruple your engagement in the online space just by doing one thing, you'd be blown away by it. And the update to the library's main site connected folks to all of the resources and programming and digital checkouts, all of the things that we do day to day at the county level. A refresh of the digital space has led to significant doubled and quadrupled engagement across all of the website, and then therefore the commitment and engagement to essential county services. We don't just do it to make it look good, that's part of the puzzle, but we do it because we make it easier and more intuitive. So the next component is that commitment in the area of governance to learning from disaster and setting a higher bar every time. Now, we didn't think that 2024 was going to fill up the bingo card and allow us to make another one, but it's been one year after another, one historic event after another through 2024. Whether it's a once in a generation flood, whether it's a once in a 70-year snow event that had just happened, that commitment of our community, our citizens to also heeding the direction of the county government is a significant part of what we do, but our integral response and recovery efforts are key to everything that we do across the organization. That also highlights our commitment to providing recovery to citizens through Team Leon as one of our most present examples. More than 450 folks and businesses receiving more than $1 million of assistance. But this face-to-face engagement too, during times of non-disaster, we're continuing to raise the bar each year by following the strategic plan and increasing the initiatives and engagement. You've seen more face-to-face engagement on Created Equal. We've done more larger and even better citizen engagement series events. And we've really raised the bar when it comes to neighborhood engagement. So getting down into the grassroots section, attending neighborhood meetings through community and media relations. And that involves resilience training, that involves connecting folks to resources, that involves also adding to people's information about what the county has to offer day to day. Now, look, that commitment, as we look ahead real briefly to public art and partner engagement, you can take just one really brief example and say KCCI. The public art that we've done along Dempsey Mayo, we're bringing that to the courthouse area. We're going to be able to, again, invest in that public art and infrastructure to increase safety and increase visibility. And then in addition to that, partnerships through Village Square and so many more. Again, if we have time, we'll put a list up. The other bit is we're going to be moving into the space of next generation 911. That's a part of your strategic plan. And it's next generation 911 is about building resilience and infrastructure and also making that call for emergency response when people need it most, to have the most information possible, to have all of the details necessary to make sure that that response is targeted, immediate, and as responsive as we can be. The last component that I want to touch on, second to last component I want to touch on is the update of the Citizens Connect mobile app. Again, part of your strategic plan, which we're going to be making significant progress in time for the 2025 hurricane season, where who knows what might end up happening. But we're going to make significant progress on launching that updated Citizens Connect app, which provides 30,000 more downloads already, and we're counting, to be able to get folks connected to disaster resources and resilience, as well as critical messaging, such as mandatory evacuations from areas and homes. Lastly, very brief to touch on is we will be doing the charter review every 8 years. That's going to be coming back before the board for appointments of citizen committees, appointments to the charter review. And some of those significant ballot measures have been the county's commitment to ethics is brought forward in the last 8-year charter review committee. That more information for that will be following and again brought to the board in the months ahead. So we're teeing ourselves up for that next 8-year process. So again, all of the work that you've seen today is made possible because of the long-term commitment to the strategic plan. And that was really just, again, the briefest of highlights that we have done and some of the efforts that we'll be doing to the future. But again, it's a day-to-day, daily commitment to excellence being the model local county government. So with that, I'll wrap it up and not advance. And then I'll pass it over to the administrator.
Thank you, Matt. I think Vince has a few words real quick.
Just a quick wrap, commissioners. I promise you those presentations were 5 minutes when we practiced them. Again, I just want to reemphasize what you heard here today. We talked about 85 strategic initiatives in the plan. What you heard today was just 1 or 2 in each section. So again, 85 and just to underscore what we wanted to show you today were projects, again, looking into next year that we're going to take a considerable amount of effort and resources and energy. But just to highlight, again, just a couple of those. Again, I just wanted to mention, I think it's really obvious, but the stellar leadership that we have here at the county and the amount of work, we've got some of the most talented individuals in the industry working for us. We're very, very lucky about that. We talk a lot in our strategic plan about being really ambitious and bold. I couldn't let the moment go by. You heard about so much, but Keith Bowers really exemplified this. He told me last year he was going to go get that the magnetic conference here. I want to tell you folks, they were really entrenched where they were. And that was just pure will and drive and getting after it on Keith's part. ARP, when we talk about ARP, again, what you saw there, that is a huge problem. One of the problems when we close ARP in terms of the landfill closure, the environmental closure, that's one of the most ambitious projects we've probably taken on in the last 10 years. It's seem like it may not sound like the most exciting project, but again, looking into next year, when you talk about the septic tanks and the hundreds and hundreds of septic tanks, and I look at Commissioner Proctor, the reason that that's so in the tens of millions of dollars, it was just a couple of years ago, Commissioners, when we had done exactly 0 septic tank conversions. Again, looking back at the beginning of last strategic plan, again, you heard about the ELI. You're going to see transformational change at the libraries. Pamela talks very quickly about a social worker in the library system, full-time, seeing 700 people in cases. So, and then generational projects, again, like the Miccosukee Community Center and so much more. But Commissioners, again, just wanted to kind of wrap that up. You can very quickly see that we could have taken at least, a day to do all that, but we tried to put it on a hyperdrive as much as we could. Mr. Chairman, I'll hand it back to you. As you know, we've got the CSC presentation, and then we'll be right into the board's session on updating the strategic plan.
Thank you, Mr. County Administrator. I just want to say one more time, thank you, and on behalf of the board, Matt, short of a volcanic eruption or a tsunami, I don't know what else we can prepare for in terms of natural events. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman.
I'm not wishing a tsunami on us, by the way. Yes, Commissioner
Mr. Chairman, could we pull up the created equal slide? I would be remiss if I failed, and I'm glad that Carrie Post is here. We've been using this with the bicentennial all year, but on the created equal slide, down in the lower corner is Mr. Matt Gardner, and I have failed to make public ownership of my great uncle. That is my great grandmother's brother, Adeline Gardner Landers, her brother. And he's sitting on that porch at the old Gardner store on Meridian, right at the corner of Meridian and Gardner Road. I've seen this over and over, and I was looking at the materials over the weekend. It had occurred to me that I failed to make public ownership of my kinfolk. Thank you very much.
Yes, Commissioner Proctor, that's pretty cool. Your roots run real deep, man. Okay, so what I'm going to do at this point, I ask for a 5-minute bathroom break, and then we're going to come back and get into Ms. Green's thing. And try to keep in mind, we got to still go through the strategic initiative, so I doubt we're going to make noon. But let's try to, we'll be as quick as we can. Okay, 5-minute break.
road on the show.
All right, let's get it back moving down the road here. We've got an update from the Children's Services Council. Commissioners, please help me. Well, before we move on to Ms. Green, I want to give one more round of applause to our staff. I meant to do that earlier. Our leadership and our staff at the county are just the best, and they're the ones that make us look so good and put all that stuff out there. And with that segue, we'll go to someone else who makes us look good, Ms. Sika Rose Green, the Director of the Children's Services Council. You have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Chair Welch. I also would like to acknowledge your designee to the Children's Services Council.
Oh, yes.
Commissioner Carolyn Cummings, who is a just fabulous mentor on top of being one of our very dedicated council members. Also want to acknowledge the internationally awarded County Administrator Vince Long, his team, just so helpful all the time, and quite frankly, the whole county staff, specifically Shinkton, Abby, Matt, Nikki, Miranda, have really worked to help our job be much easier. So just want to do those acknowledgments. So as required by statute, we have to turn in an annual report to Leon County government, which we do every year by December 31st. And that annual report answers specific questions, which I won't go into here, but it does also provide a summary of what we've done in that previous fiscal year. As you know, the Children's Services Council was approved by the voters in November 2020. The first council was set in May of 21. I came on board that December and started in January of 22, and we really hit the ground running. Before I get into what we did last fiscal year, I do want to invite everyone to the Summit on Children. It will be the 10th anniversary summit. Children's Services Council of Leon County is partnering with Whole Child Leon to host that. It is February 18th, and each of the commissioners received a copy of our annual report. In the back of that report, there should be a QR code that you can scan and register for that summit. So the council operates under 3 priorities. Those priorities are success in school and life, healthy children, youth, and families, and stable and nurturing families and communities. And we operate with core values in mind of collaboration, being data-driven, being equitable, being inclusive, and being innovative. And so while doing that, we look to fund programs that really specifically feed into your strategic initiative of quality of life. So our work continued building on the foundations of our priorities, and we achieved the following accomplishments, which originally I was going to summarize before going into the specifics, but I think I'll just jump straight to the specifics. So during last fiscal year, we funded summer enrichment programs, which were one-time, short-term investments for summer learning. All the programs were a minimum of 6 weeks, 4 days per week, at least 6 hours per day, and served at least 2 meals on each program day. So the council approved $1.7 million for 11 programs, with the final contracted amount being $1.6 million. In total, we dispersed $1.5 million and served 903 unduplicated kids. We also had summer needs scholarship funding, by which we provided scholarship to summer needs programs for parents with some special needs children. So that funding could fund up to a week, or in some cases, 2 weeks of camp as a respite for those parents and as a way for those children to connect with other children and young people. So the council approved $417,000 for 6 programs. The final contracted amount was $342,000. We dispersed $324,000, funding 5 programs. So through those scholarships, we served 150 unduplicated special needs children and youth. We also did the Summer Youth Internship Program, which is one-time short-term investment for up to 60 students aged 15 to 19. And these were to be interns with local businesses here in Leon County. So you're familiar with the city program, whereby they have high school students come in and work in city employment. You all have the county program that does the same thing. What was missing was a program for local businesses. So we partnered with North Florida Worlds of Work and the following entities: 850 Media, Aspire, Leon County Schools, Moby, Lively Technical College, C3 for Me, Tallahassee State College, the Moore Agency, ECHO, the Tallahassee Leon County Office of Economic Vitality, Keith Bowers, Loyalty Credit Union, the Greater Chamber, the DJ Dip Foundation, Florida Ready to Work, and Career Source Capital Region. So the council approved $250,000 for this. The total distribution was $153,000. We serve 41 unduplicated youth. And I'll go further to say that of those 41, 9 have been hired part-time by their placement. So it accomplished exactly what we wanted it to do. We also had Family Support Services funding, which is an investment in a variety of programs that reach children, youth, and families in their neighborhoods to promote connectivity, facilitate access to resources, and increase family functioning. Additionally, for the mentoring programs, there was a focus on anti-violence and gun violence reduction. So for family strengthening and parent education, the total award was $2.2 million awarded to 6 programs for 2 years. The information that I'll provide today is for the first year of that program from August 23 to September 24. So $883,000 was dispersed, and it served about 400 plus families to date. Under youth mentoring, the total award was $979,000, awarded to 5 programs for the same amount of time. And for year 1, 4 programs actually continued the program and served more than 350 youth. So in total, 1.5, almost $1.6 million has been dispersed of the total award for years 1, with year 2 coming. We also launched the Perinatal Navigator Services Program, which expands the Healthy Start Connect program by integrating non-clinical community health workers, known as perinatal navigators, into prenatal and obstetrician offices in Leon County. This is to help improve birth outcomes, reduce maternal and infant mortality, improve perceptions of health equity, as well as increase home visiting utilization rates and regular use of pediatricians and obstetricians. So the county approved $2.8 million over a 2-year period to serve 900 unduplicated families. The initial contract distribution is $215,000, and that program is currently underway. To dovetail on that program is the Family Medical Transportation Assistance Program, which is an expanded partnership with 211 Big Bend and the LIFT program to provide perinatal and pediatric transportation assistance to eligible families. So these are in the form of ride-sharing vouchers, which I'm sure the commission is familiar with the concept for veterans, and then some food delivery, as well as transportation to food pantries and medical assistance. So this is in place up until the infant's first birthday, and the council approved $280,000 through September of this year to serve approximately 410 families. That program is currently underway and has encumbered about $75,000 to this point. For small investments for program success is a capacity building program. While there are more than 1,000 human services nonprofits here in Leon county that serve children, youth, and families, whether it's one family or a gazillion families, you would be surprised at the lack of capacity. And that does not mean being able to serve families. What it means is understanding the business behind operating a nonprofit so that you are maximizing your outcome. So we created the Small Investment for Program Success, and it allows eligible community organizations with an operating budget of $100,000 or less to receive up to $15,000 outside of our established procurement processes. So they were accepted, the applications were accepted for quarters 1 through 3. In quarter 1, 10 programs were funded at $128,000. Quarter 2, 5 programs at $45,000, and quarter 3, 2 programs at $30,000. The 6 programs have up to 6 months from the quarter awarded to use that funding, and quarter 3, which we're currently finishing, had until December 2024. They also must report outcomes. Under school readiness, we funded a couple of programs. So the first one was the On-Ramp program in partnership with the ELC of the Big Bend. So that was $250,000 used to help roll families who are in that ALICE population, which means that they just missed the eligibility for school readiness. If a third party comes in and pays for anywhere from 1 to 3 months, then the ELC team can roll them into school readiness. The beauty of this is the state matched dollar for dollar. So whereas we put in $250,000, the state matched dollar for dollar to cover the other 6 counties that our ELC serve. So it ends up being an almost $4 million investment with a small investment in $250,000. So right now, it looks as though with that initial investment in Leon County, we leveraged about $2.8 million and served about 338 children. The total funding dispersed was $225,000, and we are looking to even continue something like this into this fiscal year. The next program under school readiness was Rebound and Recovery with FSU Student Center for Communities, Families, and Children. And this is a resiliency curriculum that was developed out of Hurricane Michael. So Rebound and Recovery, we spent $445,000 to implement 61 programs, 1,200 students, 172 staff, that includes teachers and paraprofessionals. And so we ended up being in 56 classrooms, pre-K3, pre-K4, behavioral classrooms, served 862 students and 211 educators. This is resiliency, children that learn how to self-regulate so that they can be in the class and learn. And then lastly, the Family Resource Center. So this had been an idea that the council approved back in 2023. We had to do the invitation to negotiate twice. But with that, we are now with the implementing partner, Children's Home Society of Florida. And we have the first Family Resource Center that was stood up at Cross Creek, which was in tandem with our administrative office. So that was $609,000 of a $4 million investment that was approved for that pilot from April through December 2024. So in all, for fiscal year 2024, CSC Leon served 5,427 participants and provided more than 57,000 meals. We've done a lot in a very short period of time, and we haven't finished yet. So in this current year, many of those programs we are going to continue. And in the annual report that you received, you'll see the budget, you'll see the programs that we're continuing. We just finished the application deadline for the out of school time youth development procurement, which is a year-round program and can fund up to $3.2 million in summer and after-school programming. And our council voted to expand family resource centers, as I think it was Amanda that touched on this, to expand family resource centers at Fort Brayton Community Center with a wonderful partnership with the county. I believe we'll be in the schoolhouse in the back, and of course, it escapes me what the name of the schoolhouse is.
Scout House.
Say it again? Scout House. Scout House, yes. So we are looking to get that up and running here in the spring and fully implement the Family Resource Center there at Cross Creek. Whew, I think I covered everything. Did I say within 10 minutes? Because I know we're kind of crunched. But each of you got the annual report, so you have it and you read it. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to contact me or any member of my team. So I think now it probably is best for me to be quiet because you may have some questions and I will do my best to answer them.
Thank you, Ms. Green. Commissioners, we'll go around, and if you have just some brief question or comment for Ms. Green, that'd be great. Commissioner Proctor, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I have a question, then a comment. Ms. Green, mental health of our children. Are you doing mental health assessments? And if so, how are they being addressed? Or are they being pushed to another corner of our community for assessment and addressing?
So part of our family support funding is mental health services for youth. And so that's a part of those 4 or 5 entities that are doing family support. Specifically, SG Mental Health is one of our partners. They actually go to the children to do that, as well as Oasis Center for Women and Girls. Specifically, Oasis Center is doing emergency mental health for moms and after-hour mental health, as well as Girls Circle, which is a wonderful program that allows the girls to come together to get that. Mental health assessment that is done through the provider, not through CSC Leon. And we are also looking at ways to expand that type of mental health counseling because we know that that is a needed area.
Very good. I just make a comment now to say that it is my observation that Ms. Sika Green is doing an outstanding job. I was not a supporter of the Children's Services Council, his initiative. In fact, I publicly opposed it. And in part, one of the dominant reasons being that the governor appointed the majority of y'all's board and didn't provide any money whatsoever. The state didn't, but they have control. And commissioners, don't be persuaded always by the hype. It's amazing to me that, consistent with my initial perceptions, that our local appointments tend to be supportive of the work of Sika Green. The gubernatorial appointees are often very obstinate and difficult to work beyond. It seems that they don't see the value, they don't see the good. And it's almost as if this infant and embryonic agency of the county for which voters voted for is held to almost a 15-year operating standard. And it's really an embryonic organization, but the matrix of measure is so very precise and exacting as if it's much older than what it is, but notwithstanding the very matured application of expectations placed upon CSE, Sika Green has done an outstanding job. And, you know, it's amazing as a quarterback, as a quarterback, Nick, it's a bad thing that when the line determines that they ain't gonna block for you, you know, as a running back, you know, it's a bad thing when the linemen turn against you and ain't gonna block for you. And I am saying that though I oppose this organization, I've come to appreciate its value, but I have not been disappointed in the expectation and the suspicion that the governor's appointees would come there and raise hell and not get behind this local initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Proctor. Commissioner Caban, would you like to?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll be very brief. I just wanted to also give Director Green a big round of applause for all the work that you guys have been doing over there. In years past, I had the privilege of working with Sika on the board of the Children's Home Society, and so I can attest firsthand to your 24/7 commitment to what you do, and we really appreciate it. In regards to the Family Resource Center, we are very excited for this location at the Fort Braden Community Center to go live next spring. We announced it earlier this month, and the feedback we got from the community has been great. And really what it boils down to is this: that community center in Fort Brayton is cherished by, and been cherished for generations. As we heard earlier, we're going to celebrate the 100th anniversary next year. But for young children currently in Fort Brayton, there's not as much tied to it as folks from previous generations. And so what we're excited about is this is going to create an opportunity for the next generation to be able to have an emotional attachment to it. And, 50 years from now, 60 years from now, we'll have another generation of Fort Brayton residents that cherish and want to preserve the Fort Brayton Community Center like folks that currently live out there do. So once again, thank you. And thank you, Commissioner Cummings, for also your time on the board and supporting this initiative as well. It really means a lot to our constituents, so thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Caban. Commissioner Minor?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'll be very quick. Ms. Green, thanks very much for all the work you're doing. I should have just called you ahead of time and asked you about this, but now's as good a time as any. Does the CSC or any of the providers currently have any focus yet on the effects of social media on children? And this is springboarding off of what Commissioner Proctor said regarding mental health. Are there any programs in place or planned in the near future to address that point? Because nationwide, we're seeing a lot of concern about the effect that social media has on our children.
So thank you for that question, Commissioner Minor. So as you can imagine, when you think about all of the different things that affect our children, youth, and families, it would be great if we had money and we could just address all of it. Unfortunately, we cannot. However, with that being said, we have that pinned as one of the areas that we will review. Additionally, we have a partnership with the Crisis Text Line, which is a national text line that's been in existence for about 10 years now. And you can actually get mental health services via text. So either text, WhatsApp, all of those things. I also have been in communications with a gentleman who I will not name, who I think is specifically focused on this, to see if there are any partnership opportunities for us to look into that. But I will tell you that we have a strategic framework, and those three areas are youth development, kindergarten readiness, and family support. So I would imagine it could fall under one of those. What I would ask is that the community give us an opportunity to really do some in-depth strategic planning. We've done all of this, and without knowing it, it's all fallen into this strategic framework. But it is going to be vitally important that we figure out and focus and then bring things along as we go. So the simple answer is yes, it is something we're thinking about. No, it's not something that we've specifically funded at this.
That makes sense. And I think I know the gentleman that you're referring to. I've spoken to him as well.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Commissioner Minor. Commissioner O'Keefe?
Thank you so much. To echo some of the sentiments, the position that you and your council are in is very, very difficult, not only facing the challenge of quickly addressing a need that has long since been needed to be filled to keep the trust of the citizens who want to see results. We've seen those results, and I just want to thank you so much for that. I could go on forever, but you have work to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner O'Keefe. Commissioner Cummings?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. You can hear me. I just want to commend our executive director for all the hard work that she has done for the last couple of years. As you know, I was there from the inception, first meeting of the Children's Services Council. And we certainly, under her great leadership and compassion for our children, we have made great strides. And I'm glad that she mentioned the fact that we have some focus areas, specifically kindergarten readiness. And I think it's safe to say that since the inception of the Children's Services Council here in Leon County, the percentage for kindergarten readiness for our children here in Leon County has escalated by several points. So we're certainly proud of that, and we're proud of that particular focus. But I'd also ask you, Ms. Green, if you can just touch very briefly on the relationship that we have with the ASKU school at FSU and how they're coming in to measure the outcomes so that the citizens can see that the outpouring of funding in certain areas does result in positive outcomes. And the other thing is that we need to recognize that the state where our children are or were during the inception of the Children's Services Council didn't happen overnight. And so we know we are trying to move the needle, but it's not something that's going to happen overnight. So we certainly appreciate the patience and the understanding from the taxpayers to know that we are certainly, trying to be under the leadership of Ms. Green. We are trying to be good protectors of the public trust and the public fist as well. But if you will just address how the ASKU school at FSU will be playing a major role in measuring our outcomes.
Sure. So first, let me give a quick shout out to our team. We're a small but really mighty team. And so while I definitely appreciate the accolades, it is not possible without our team back at the office. So if they're listening, love you guys. So yes, we have a relationship with the ASKU school, particularly Dr. Van Landingham, where they have come in to help do some evaluation with our family supports program specifically. If you saw, there was an op-ed that I authored in the paper, or maybe it was a couple Sundays ago, and the title of it was Moving from Outputs to Outcomes. In our inception, what we had were outputs. That's what we were doing. We were trying to get kids back into school, back into summer programs after COVID, try to meet immediate gaps. As a matter of fact, that was Commissioner Cummings' main driver, was to try to get some funding out there right away. And those are outputs. That's just getting kids out of the house, getting them into camp. Every year, it's become more stringent. The metrics get higher and higher, and the bar is raised higher and higher for the expectation of the programs. So part of what Dr. Van Landingham is doing is walking alongside those family support programs to help them better understand not only what they're doing, but how what they're doing is working, or in some cases, not working. Real evaluation will begin to take place with our latest RFP out of school time, because it's going to walk alongside with it from the very beginning. But with only 3 years, May will be 4 years for us. We're at 3.5, it'll be 4 years. These are baselines that we're establishing. And so, yes, we have the baselines from the needs assessment, but that needs assessment was back in June 22. And we all know what assessments are. They're old by the time they get published. That's just the reality of the situation. So using ASKU School and Dr. Van Landingham to walk alongside our family supports programs first, and then figure out how we expand that for all of the other programs that will come. It's important for you all and the public to know that each of our RFPs have metrics, and those metrics are scored to determine whether the programs that are awarded can meet those metrics. And our team, small as they are, do the monitoring. We walk alongside them. They are investment partners, not just funded entities that get the money and then we look at punitive ways to manage them. That's not going to work. We know that in the past that doesn't work. So we walk alongside all of the programs that we fund, whether it's SIPs, all the way up to the Family Resource Center. Did I answer your question?
Thank you, Ms. Green. And before I can go to Commissioner Maddox, and then we'll come to you, Commissioner Proctor, I just want to thank you once again, Commissioner Cummings, for your dedication to the Children's Services Council since we were elected in 2020. I know you have a deep well for love of our children in this community, and we are certainly proud to have you representing our board on Ms. Green's board. So thank you once again. Commissioner Maddox, go right ahead.
Mr. Chair, thank you. I don't have a question, but just like everybody else, I have a comment. I think one thing that hasn't been brought up is the fact that The board, along with Ms. Green, created this program from scratch. I mean, it's one thing to be able to manage day-to-day operations that's been built, but if you think about this program, how it was brought into existence and what we had to do and the partnerships that we've had, a lot of that has come out of the mind of Sika Rose Green and her building out the infrastructure and the team that she has for us to be able to sit where we are today. So I wanted to thank you, not just for what you're doing here today, but for the time and effort and the thought processes and that you put into creating what is now our CSC. Madam immediate past chair, I want to thank you for the leadership that you've shown on that board, but also wanted to just have us think about, as Ms. Sika Rose Green said, the community as well as us being patient as they continue to build out. I think sometimes we forget the fact that this is a brand new organization in our community. When you put it next to other organizations that are doing work, 3 years, 4 years?
Not quite 4.
Not even quite 4 yet. That's how new it is. And when you think about the impact we're expecting it to have and the amount of money that's being brought into it and the planning that it takes to get all of that in the right place, on the right road, it's a lot. I remember when I first got on the commission, and she'd be proud of all the processes that we're talking about. But Commissioner Dozier and I, how far CHSP, and Vince could probably speak to this, has come from when we first got on county commission to where it is now. And it was how was the program at that point, Vince? How was CHSP in 10?
Pushing 20.
It was 20 years old then, and look how it's evolved in these past 15 years. You're 3 years old, and the evolution is going to be powerful and impactful to our community. But again, I just want us to understand this is a new organization that we're expecting big things out of, but we have to be good partners in helping the organization develop and not placing pressure on it that causes it to sputter in its development. And we also have to be patient. So thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Commissioner Proctor, before I get to you, I just want to give a few comments real quick, Ms. Green, and just say, along the lines of what Commissioner Maddox just said, people come to me fairly often and with criticisms about the CSC, and I explain to them, I use the analogy that, like, it's a toddler. We can't expect it to be winning, Olympic gold medal, 100-yard dashes. It's just learning to toddle. And at some point, we expect gold medals, and then we're pretty confident in your leadership that you'll provide those. But I do want to say thank you for your dedication and getting this thing up and running and carrying it forward for us. Commissioner Proctor, close us out.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Vince, you recall the consultant group from Austin, Texas, that came down here and we did a study on the health needs of uninsured, like in 1990s or something. I believe in 2006, we proposed a half-cent that we put on referendum for uninsured Leon County citizens. If I remember correctly, it would have generated between 18 and 22 million per in 2006. We had Commissioner Welch's predecessor running, and another candidate. They spent over $600,000 campaigning against that half-cent to address the needs of the uninsured. We did a study. The study out of Texas came back and blew everybody's mind, because as we were looking in general at uninsured health needs, it discovered so rawly that the women and the children was the unseen poverty and need was so concentrated. Out of that study, the Bond Community Health Center created its Women and Children's Health Initiative, and it serves right now the Women and Children's Center in Bond Community Health. It comes from that data. It's not that this community has not known the data and the poverty, and before we did and revisited 32304 in 2019, this has been well known to us. Yours, however, is the first institutional effort to move forward to address. And like each commissioner said, the infancy of your agency, y'all have stood up to like full-grown adults fighting a good fight. And I'm encouraging you to continue to do just that. Now, one final point here is that I was disappointed with your board last year, as you all had that opportunity, but you went with the rollback, and you wanted to, be all tight and right. We took the excess from the county, the school board took the excess. Everybody did, but your board forced you all to not receive the windfall from property values going very high. From that, I believe and I feel, and that's why I came in front of y'all's board to say they need more personnel. They need more folk. From this money, there was an opportunity to expand more personnel to do some things. But again, when your offensive line won't block for you and fight you internally against receiving what every governmental entity received, we took the windfall, and the Children's Services Council worked against the wind, or rather the wind worked against them. And we have to be sensitive, commissioners, to our placing our support behind. And the data that we begin to pay outsiders to come assess, a lot of time has passed, but very little has changed. But I thank you, Sika, for all that you're doing in regard of our community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I could do one more thing.
Sure, go
before,
ahead.
I sit down. I neglected to talk about our partnership with you all on emergency housing for homeless. Our board approved $500,000, $500,000 to go to 4 of the 5 homeless shelters for emergency housing. And we're very proud of that. It fits in with our kindergarten readiness and stable housing. So I wanted to be sure to mention that. We worked for 2 years to get that. And so we hope that that will continue. And then lastly, I just want to thank this council, this board, for being supportive. Whenever we call and need advice, you give it to us, from Candace Wilson and HR, Matt, to everyone. And so I did want to say thank you. We look forward to even more accomplishments. And lastly, we will do an impact report in February that goes from our inception to the end of fiscal year 24. So look out for that. Thank you all so much. And I'll be hanging around.
Hold on one second, Ms. Green. I think Commissioner Cummings wanted to close this out. Is that?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to respond and just address Commissioner Proctor's comment. And I just wanted to thank him and some other public individuals for coming to our meeting. And they did impress upon us about not rolling back the millage rate. However, I wish he had come at the meeting when we rolled back the millage rate, because you came at the meeting, our subsequent meeting. And I believe statutorily, at that meeting, we couldn't increase it. We could only roll it back more. So if you had been in the meeting where we made the decision to roll it back, I think it would have been a great impact on the council members. But unfortunately, you missed that meeting. But thank you. We appreciate you coming. We appreciate you and others and your input, because of course we're all concerned about the welfare of our children.
Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, just the final, honest to God. Reading, R-E-A-D-I-N-G. Sika, is there any possibility, and I know you only get about, 24 hours in a day. Is there any possibility that you and our librarian, I'm willing myself for reading, and as an emphasis to all the children from 4 years old, reading and making sure that we implant. It used to be a time that children, it was illegal for some children to read, to know how to write, to be taught. It was illegal. I believe that it could easily, by executive order, could potentially become something like that. I think reading ought to be stressed, and I would like to see it as a permanent undergirding theme throughout children's services, and encouraging them to read and us rewarding their efforts.
So there are 2 things with that. The campaign for grade level.
Coming February 11th commission meeting. With that, Mr. Chairman, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. County Administrator. So if I'm looking at the current initiatives, it looks like The one that Commissioner Proctor had asked for earlier is at the top there about the MDSM conference.
That's exactly right. Yes, we were
Okay.
contemplating that one.
Perfect. So, Commissioners, I'll remind you that a supermajority vote is required for a proposed initiative to be added or for an existing initiative to be amended. Staff have got a starting list up there for us. Mr. County Administrator, is staff going to add these as we request them to this list?
Yes.
Is it a living document we can
They
see?
will come up on the screen as you add it, as
Perfect.
Commissioners add them.
So Commissioners, the way I would like to handle it is we'll go around and everybody can add their suggested initiatives. But remembering that it requires 5 out of 7 of us to support it. If you think it's going to be controversial, then we will have to set it aside and handle it separately. So if they're all non-controversial, that would be the most expeditious way to do it. We'll get them on there and then we will vote on them at the end collectively. If you have one that is controversial, we will have to pull it and vote on it separately because we need a supermajority. So is there any particular order that you'd like to go? Commissioner Maddox, we will start with you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, in the way of tourism, spoke a couple meetings ago about us looking to get in world-class acts here. So explore opportunities to attract top 100 Billboard artists for concerts and performances at various local venues throughout the next year. That'd be tourism and basically in our home and quality of life. Continue to support the Big Bend Continuum Care and the coordination and implementation of the annual point in time count to collect homeless data, critical to securing state and federal funding. Mr. Chair.
All right, Commissioners, you see them up there on the board. If no issue, Commissioner Maddox, you got anything else?
No, sir.
All right, awesome. Commissioner Cummings, are you ready? Okay, go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Chair. I'd like to add an initiative, strategic initiative for the board to support hosting the Children's Home Society Family Resource Center in partnership with the Children's Services Council of Leon.
Okay, Commissioners, there you see it. See any major concerns there? Commissioner Cummings, you got any more?
That's all I have.
Okay, anything else at this point? You good? Okay, Commissioner O'Keefe.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First one I'd like to add is that we explore innovative strategies to enhance pedestrian safety, including doing a traffic safety study that also studies utilizing automated speed detection tech in school zones.
Okay.
And then the second one is that I'd like to add that we initiate a feasibility study to be part of the component of Phase 2 implementation at the Appalachia Regional Park, or ARP, master plan. We'll leave it there.
Okay, Commissioners, any questions or comments about those?
Mr. Chairman?
Yep.
Add, that would include state-of-the-art, studying a state-of-the-art mountain bike facility.
Yep, that Phase 2 master plan. Maggie didn't quite get to explain us what cyclocross? Yeah, that sounds pretty awesome. Commissioner Caban, you ready?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have 3. As the board knows, I've been talking about Woodville and infrastructure and projects and just paying, more attention on infrastructure projects in Woodville. So my first initiative is to develop a Woodville rural community sense of place plan to evaluate land uses and guide future improvements in the Woodville area and coordinate with County Public Works in developing a 5-year improvement plan to include vehicular and pedestrian safety.
All right, go ahead.
If I may. My next one is, as I promised earlier in the meeting, evaluate recreational amenities in Southwest Leon County, including Lake Talquin, J. Lewis Hall Senior Park, and the St. Mark's Trail for opportunities to host annual tourism events and competitions. And my last one is, I want to coordinate with our board to coordinate with the local technology planning teams to evaluate areas lacking reliable broadband and cellular services and additional opportunities to work with industry stakeholders to direct investments in those areas. And that's it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, commissioners, any questions or comments on those three? All right, Commissioner Minor, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've got two. The first one would be to expand efforts to reduce graffiti and roadside littering by coordinating with the Leon County Sheriff's Office and the State Attorney's Office to explore the development of a new anti-graffiti, anti-littering program that would install Capital Region Real-Time Crime Center cameras in selected areas on a rotating basis where graffiti and roadside littering are severe. And then the other one, the second one, is expand efforts to build public awareness of the county's code compliance program through ongoing neighborhood engagement and public information efforts.
Thank you, Commissioner Minor, and there you see those two. If you guys have any questions or comments for Commissioner Minor. All right, Commissioner Proctor,
Thank
you're
you,
up.
Chairman. Thank you, sir. Commissioners, I know we've talked about mental health. I have. Is there any that I've missed that mental health that we're able to lift it up as more of a universal embracement? And if so, in what categories are we existingly addressing it besides the detention center of Leon County Jail?
Is that a question for County Administrator? Mayor?
Yes, we're finding the strategic initiatives now. I think Nikki's got her hands on it.
I'll move.
Under the quality of life, we have an initiative to expand the number of mental health beds available locally in partnership with the Appalachia Center.
Okay. Okay, I didn't find it, so, okay, I trust it's all there. Second, Mr. Chairman, members, you all know that the 32304 initiative, I think that we've gone through the COVID period, we've gone through, the momentum has been, I like to see us embrace a revisit of 32304. The first time that we brought this forward, my board was zero, did not even give a cup of coffee for the events, but nevertheless, no, I said we didn't give any money to hosting or doing anything. And the board allowed this commission to do it, you know, single-handedly. But I like to see our board go back to the 32304 to revisit, in particular in the aftermath of COVID. And where are we with that? There were some who stepped up and blah, blah, blah. But it's just been kind of, and I'd like to see us revisit 32304. I know that this was not the county's project, but it was more District 1 Commissioner's project. But I'd like to see the county embrace it.
Commissioner Proctor, do you have any suggested language for that, or for as a strategic initiative, or do you want to bring that up as an item at
32304 revisit and continuation? And it was just such a that it was our state's identified as the state's #1 most impoverished area. That's what made it most alarming.
Does that language look good to you?
Sure.
Okay.
We'll continue to massage it.
Yeah.
So we get the,
Commissioner Proctor, go ahead.
I was very concerned with what we identified back on page 29 about the workforce issues. And when we had a meeting or so ago, I can't think his name, the workforce guy
McShane
said that we're looking at difficulties. And I really believe that with respect to the TCC talk, the lively talk, vocational issues, that are part of when we use the word business development, that we really need to go deeper than business startup. And I think that we ought refocus it to expand to include a talent pool development, the development of the pool. And that ties right back into 32304 and the kind of lives that were not being cultivated to make contribution. This worker issue is becoming universal. And I believe that aside from startup businesses and how many new businesses, but we've got to reach deeper and go into the talent development component. And I like to see under workforce, we need some new words to include talent development, talent.
Commissioner Proctor.
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Chairman, if I could just for a minute. As I mentioned to you earlier, the ratification of these items will come back on the February 11th commission meeting. So again, I think we got the intent, if it's okay with the board, it would give us the opportunity to kind of massage some language and bring something back for you to approve at that time.
Okay. And then my final thing, Mr. Chairman, and I'm not sure if it goes here because you said don't bring anything up that was controversial, and it's not controversial to me, but the National Forest, our continuing to stroke an effort, in particular, a window with a national government that's very transactional. And I think that we've never seen a finer moment in history to put forth an idea, and in particular with thoughts and plans for mental health campuses, affordable housing, new options for jail, all of those things. But the forestry area, called Apalachicola Forest, ought to be under the territorial domain of Leon County. And this is not difficult to put forward now. And if we could think of Panama, Greenland, or Canada as being a 51st state, then certainly here in Leon County, we can think of the forest as belonging to Leon's County. And I'd like to throw that up there.
Okay. Commissioner Proctor, I'm being told by staff that there's already an existing strategic initiative to ask the staff to work with the state and the national government on that one. So,
very good.
All right. So, I've got a couple here just at the end. I'd like to.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, I forgot one.
Okay, go ahead.
My last one was to create Leon County as the global headquarter for all things magnet.
Okay. Can you draft something like that up? Just like designate us as the magnet capital of the world?
We are. I mean, we
There you
can
go.
designate the Gulf of America. We designate ourselves the magnet.
Why not the
capital.
Gulf of Florida? All right. I've got one that's to exempt land conservancy groups such as Tall Timbers from environmental permitting requirements for activities that support and further their mission of fostering land stewardship through research, conservation, and education. This would include things like vegetation and tree removal, things like that that are in the bailiwick of land conservation groups. That one should come up here in a moment, I would think. And then the last one, which is important for all of us, is the establishment of a citizen charter review committee to review the county's home rule charter and propose any amendments or revisions ahead of the 2026 general election. As Vince mentioned earlier, we're on the 10-year, is it 10-year? 8-year charter review process. So we have to lay the groundwork for creating a citizens review committee to look at our charter. So that one you see up there as well. Okay. Anything else? If not, yeah, Commissioner O'Keefe, go ahead.
Real quick, on one of these, the exempting land conservancy groups, it's one I'm concerned about, but given this is a strategic item, I'm assuming any changes would come back for votes and I can bring it up then.
Yeah, I think this is an item that groups like Tall Timbers who do land management have asked for in the past. Yeah, obviously there are other conservation groups that, we have relationships with, but essentially it's exempting professional land managers that are involved in a group that's does conservancy work from the permitting process to do that work, really, which is just red tape for those folks. Okay, if there's no other conversation, we need a motion and a second. So moved by Commissioner Maddox, seconded by Commissioner Minor on the strategic initiative. All of those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And all opposed, none. So it passes unanimously. And again, it'll be coming back for ratification at our February meeting. So we've done it, you guys. We're 30 minutes over budget, but that's pretty good. I think what we're going to do now is go around, let you guys say some closing comments, and then let Vince and Chastity say some closing comments. Or we can do that vice versa if you want to
Sure.
Do you want to do it first?
Just a quick thank you, commissioners. Thank you for your leadership and clear direction that you provide to us. I want to thank county staff again in the room. I want to, in particular, to thank Nikki and the team that kind of does this year round, and everybody who sort of feeds in all the data here, and for the folks who just put it all together today. Again, so special thanks to them. She's been quiet today, but needless to say, we couldn't do any of it without our county attorney and all the support that her team provides to us on any of what we talked about today. My final thing is, before Commissioner Maddox leaves, my final thing is that we want to gather for this is the rare event where we have us all here together. So right after this, we wanted to gather for a quick team picture out.
Maddox can't leave.
That's right. We'll Photoshop him in.
All right, Madam County Attorney, anything? Thank you for being here.
No, Chair. Just wanted to say hello to everybody. Look forward to working with everyone in 2025. And I've always appreciated the efforts of staff, both under Vince's leadership and in the county attorney's office. And I look forward to working with all of you in the upcoming year on the existing initiatives and the ones that are proposed. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Cummings, any closing remarks?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, for this chairing a fantastic retreat. As you say, your first retreat. It was awesome. You did an awesome job. And of course, I want to thank the commissioners and our county administrator and his fabulous staff for all the work that they do and for all their presentations today, in addition to our executive director of the Children's Services Council. I mean, everybody did a fantastic job, brought us up to date, and we see where we are, and I'm just proud of all the work that we do for the county, and it shows in our report card. We're 75% and above in every area. So thank you all so much for your hard work.
Thank you, Commissioner Cummings. Commissioner O'Keefe.
Thank you. I just want to say the idea about the magnet is very attractive. And then also, I think everyone's done a great job. Commissioners, I think you should have the rest of the afternoon off. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner O'Keefe. Commissioner Caban.
Thank you. I have a question. I have a question real briefly for the county attorney, just in regards to one of the strategic initiatives in regards the Citizens Council for the Charter Review. Does our charter currently state, is there a procedure for if every 8 years we have a charter review, correct? Like that's in the charter?
There is a time frame for that committee, but I'll be honest, this will be my first go-around with this sort of review committee. So I will be going to the office this afternoon and looking up what that process looks like.
Okay, so we're not sure off the top of your head if we have, like, how many people we're going to be, like, what the process is for a citizens committee, what that looks like?
I haven't looked at that, but Vince might know already.
Yeah, having written the charter. Yeah, I can tell you that, again, and Commissioner Caban was testing me on this in terms of the what it specifically says relative to the Citizens Committee. It does clearly articulate that that the board is required to do a once every 8-year review. I believe the citizens part is in there. But again, Commissioner Caban's keeping me on my toes, so we're going to have to, when we bring you back an agenda item, we'll provide all the options for the board. Like if there are options for you to structure it different ways, and we'll also let you know how we've done it in the past 2 reviews and that sort of thing. But again, anytime the board has discretion on that, we'll make sure to present all that to you, and you can just give us the direction with how you want to do that. But I know it's every 8 years, and with respect to the how, I have to go back and clarify that.
Okay, awesome. Everyone, it was a great retreat. Staff, thank you so much. Hope you all have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Minor?
Mr. Chairman, you're on a good retreat. Nice job, sir.
Thank you.
You know, I'm not going to make a motion for this or anything. I just want to get the sense for the will of the board. This was a really great retreat. We covered an incredible amount of material in a short amount of time. I'm of the opinion maybe for next year, we budget a couple more hours just to kind of keep things, just kind of go through the other strategic priority areas a little bit more thoroughly. I mean, listen, we've got tickets in our hand. Let's go see the full show, right? So that's just my thought about it. I don't know if everyone here would agree with that, but there's so few times when the 7 of us get a chance to sit down and just talk about the future, talk about where we've been and where we are right now and where we're going. And I think maybe a couple more hours, I think, could be really well spent. So just
Commissioner Minor, maybe Commissioner Vice Chair will be chair next year. Maybe just you guys pegging your brain to remember, maybe next year, just ask county administrator if you can add some time.
Yeah.
I don't think you need a motion.
Oh, well, there you go.
Oh,
there you go.
You need more time.
But all in all, this is a great retreat. We covered a lot of stuff. Congratulations to staff for all the hard work. I mean, we say that every meeting, and it's because we need to. You guys are doing a tremendous job. We can't be more proud to be associated with everyone here. Thank you.
Thank you,
Mr.
Commissioner
Chairman.
Minor. Commissioner Proctor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, I failed to, when Carrie Post was standing, to lift up the need for a conference center. And it's with kind and warm enthusiasm that Carrie Post has indicated to me as a member of the Tourism Board that a demand, a pent-up demand, does exist if Tallahassee had a conference center. And in terms of more heads and beds year-round, that potential is great. I thought we would have gotten a chance to gnaw a little bit on that bone. And the Southern report here today was spectacular. Thanks, staff, for that. I'm a little emotionally crushed that we don't get to gnaw on that bone, and we didn't play with that a little bit. Nevertheless,
That's right.
I think the other point that we may not have covered, we have as one of our bold goals here to retain a highly skilled, diverse, and innovative county workforce, which exemplifies the county's core practices, and as a priority that we're committed to promoting integrity and diversity. I think that we're going to run into something related to diversity. I'm not sure if it comes from the legislature and to whether or not our goals for workforce will any longer be legally plausible. Will we file a lawsuit to defend our core values? Or will these be our values? I'm really concerned with whether or not by executive decree, we have to receive persons arrested by ICE, federal authorities, and placed in our jails. I'm concerned about what is a citizen, 14th Amendment. I just see with some of our core values that we're not in step with, I think that with respect to if there was another COVID outbreak, it's potentially perceivable to me that, Robert Kennedy, DeLapio, Secretary of Health in Florida, and Kennedy, they may not believe in science. What happens if we believe in science and they don't? Legally, will we go to jail as commissioners if we wanted to support the dictates of science versus the propaganda of Kennedy or DeLapio, Secretary of Health? I'm concerned we didn't get a chance to gnaw on that bone. And then, of course, commissioners, hurricane preparedness. We do a lot in that area, and Matt, and preparedness, we spend a lot of time. But what I have observed this past year is the disaster aftermath that I believe our follow-up with, since we may not have a FEMA, I am concerned with who steps up, what resources, and that's a real conversation over the past week. Will we have FEMA to help our community in the future? If not, what are our plans to wing it alone? How do we connect people to insurance, their policies, their that kind of thing? And I think that we would make a more comprehensive storm, hurricane, snow, prepared for these events, as we're also able to walk people to the recovery lanes for their respective encumbrances of disaster. I wish we could have talked about it, but those were my thoughts. Thank you very kindly. You did a wonderful job. Great job.
Thank you, Commissioner Proctor, and I'll close this out by echoing everybody's sentiments. Thank you all for making the trek to deep Northeast District 4. We appreciate you and are certainly glad you're here. And want to say thank you again to our staff. Sorry we had to shortchange some of you guys. Like I said, I don't think that's a terrible idea, stretching this out a little bit, mostly because I want our staff at the end of the day to feel valued. I want you guys to really know how much we appreciate you and how much we support you and all the work you do. And thank you to our leadership team, but also please extend our thank yous to your staffs who are out doing the work right now. So we want to make sure that they feel appreciated as well. And on that note, I think we're all done here. Thank you guys so much.
I apologize. Hold on, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to bring to our awareness Regina, Vince's aide, Regina Glee, lost her husband last week. Regina, our condolences to you. Those funeral services will be this Saturday, 11 o'clock in Greenville. And I thought we would be remiss not to recognize extreme loss for Regina. And our prayers, Regina, to you and our love. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Commissioner Proctor. Okay, yes, and well, before we go, everybody, Matt Cavell, I assume, is going to coordinate a photograph with the team. So follow Matt. Thank you, guys. Have a great afternoon.
you.